Hello, everybody. They're coming home. Uh, you may see that I have got dressed for the occasion this time. Streaming the launch was a last-minute decision, so I didn't have a VRM ready, but this time I am prepared. And they just announced that instead of having a 3,000-mile-long descent, they changed it to a 1,701-mile nautical descent, which I, as a Trekkie, find particularly entertaining. You know, the good old 1701. And I'm going to do what I did on launch and explain acronyms as best I can because NASA speak be like that. I'm also going to leave the closed captioning on in case I'm talking and we miss something important. That is currently a live view. Ooh, look, they put the worm on it. That's the name of that particular version of the logo, is the worm.
Integrity to conduct its translunar injection that propelled it on its way to the moon and its historic lunar flyby. So the total distance we expect this vehicle to have traveled at Splashdown, 694,481 statute miles.
That's a very long way. I'm getting emotional already, and we're not even an hour yet into it, or an hour yet from it. Now, I will say, when that Artemis II splashdown timer gets to about 45 minutes, I'm going to run some more ads so that we don't get pre-rolls for an hour.
The vehicle system is in excellent shape as the Earth grows larger in the field of view. Let's go back to the USS John Murtha and Megan Cruz, who is standing by.
Yeah, they went back to the worm.
Hey, yeah, Rob, welcome back. Again, we are
and on
out
her
in
microphone
the
is the logo they call a meatball,
from where
which is
we
the one that is on the uniform.
Now in just over an hour. How exciting! And the weather, awesome conditions here. I know you see some wind blowing around my hair, but really nothing to speak of when it comes to having to recover.
And I realized the other day that this is the first time that there have been 4 people near the moon.
Great views you can see behind me.
Instead of just 3, because all the Apollo missions were 3.
Really exciting. And now, of course, this ship has
this
a lot of people ready and excited to welcome our crew back home, including Dr. Rick Schuring here. He is a NASA flight surgeon. Great to have you here, Rick.
You too, Megan. It is a blessing to be out here this day with our teams. We've trained 3 years for this, nonstop with the U.S. Navy, and along with EGS, and we've so looked forward to this day. And you know, just by God's grace, everything's parting, the skies and everything. The crew's doing great.
EGS.
Looking forward to coming back.
What that stands for,
our teams are ready. So this is one of those days you've dreamt about, and now it's finally here, and we're ready, and just thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah, and you play a really integral role. When was the last time you spoke to the crew, and how are they feeling in this last hour before splashdown?
Sure. Yeah, so the crew woke up. When they splashed down, they were woken up about 8.5 hours ago. Me and my fellow crew surgeons, Doctors Chris Haas and Rafi Kumjian from the Canadian Space Agency, spoke with them about 6.5 hours ago, just to double check on how they were doing, if there's any medical issues, you know, how they slept, and then kind of go over their landing day protocol for their medications, for what we call a fluid load, to try to replace some of the fluid and electrolytes that they've lost with just a normal space adaptation. Once they got to space, they kind of have to replace some of that fluid to help them with the whole landing kind of readaptation to 1G, which they haven't done for the last 10 days. And then just kind of let them know how things were going to play out, you know, out with the open water teams all the way until we
slower gravity messes with the way that fluids distribute in your body, and it messes with the way that you get like blood to the brain and oxygen throughout your system. There's lots of trouble with leg circulation in particular.
And you took some medications. I mean, those are kind of just to mitigate the effects of, obviously, they're more than 695,000-mile journey back to Earth.
Because when you're here on Earth,
medication, right?
Yeah, exactly,
we've evolved to where blood naturally goes to the legs.
When they come back from re-entry, you know,
I thought it was a great idea.
Kind of dynamic. It has to readapt very quickly, and one of the most
to be clear, he had the idea for the suit.
Some stomach awareness, to some nausea, even to some vomiting, and you know, with
But
our
yeah,
crews that
so
land out in Carolina, the
on
Soyuz
Earth,
crews or
the
our
circulatory
SpaceX
system
crews,
is
you know, they all kind of
evolved
experience
to
the
pump
same thing.
how
This will
it
be the
pumps
first
around
time
the
we're landing in
legs
water since
to
December
fight gravity on the way
1972,
back up.
and I worked
But
with
when
all
you
the
don't
Apollo
have gravity
astronauts
in
years
space,
ago, and they all told
it
me that, you
all
know, landing
messes
in the
up.
water, especially in the Pacific, can be
Yeah, I
very
tried to make
provocative.
it as
So we take steps to
accurate
give them medicines
to
to
the
really
Orion
mitigate some of that
spacecraft,
nausea,
what they
vomiting,
call
help
the
them feel a little
pumpkin
better,
suit, as
and
I
also
could.
sometimes just use a little anti-inflammatory medicine
And
just
I
to
put
help
a
with
little,
coming
oop,
back to
wrong
one Earth
sleeve.
or
I put a
1G.
little,
The effects of microgravity,
my
especially
mission
as we
patch
age and you have lower
is a
arthritis,
twitch.
you feel great microgravity, and everyone kind of curses coming back to the ground like, oh dang, 1G, but so that helps a little bit. But for the most
I
part,
gotta
the
say,
main thing is just replacing that
I've been
fluid
super
and then trying to
jealous
help
of
them
these
with that
astronauts
transition back to
the whole
1G,
time,
and then we're ready to go.
Yeah, and their health is assessed
because
almost
it
immediately
sounds
after they splash down.
so
Yeah, so we have
freeing
Dr.
to
Jesse
just
Wang, and we have
be
our independent duty corpsmen who are the Navy Virgin paramedics,
outside of
extremely highly trained, highly
the
experienced
noticeable gravitational
Navy
pull of
medics and
Earth and
divers
just
who will
have
go out there,
the
open the capsule
infinity of
about
everything
25,
around
28
you.
minutes after splashdown
So I'm
and do the
so
first initial
jealous.
assessment. So Jesse and his team will go out there and look at each crew, kind of do their assessments, get vital signs, report
Yeah, when
back
I
to
was a
Drs.
kid,
Haas and Kumji and I and
the
Dr.
very first
Medbay,
thing I ever
let them
wanted
know
to be
how
when
they're
I grew up
doing,
was a
and
Vulcan.
then
The
you know,
second
if
thing I
they've got the
wanted to be when I
normal
grew
kind
up
of
was a
space adaptation
mermaid.
kind of things, we expect that
Uh,
they're good to go on that. If
Yes, you
anything,
do.
you know, didn't go the way we
And
want,
the
they're all
third
prepared
thing
for
I
that
ever
as
wanted to
well.
be was
And
an
Jesse and his
astronaut.
team, I mean,
And then I
you know,
wanted
this
to
is
be
a
a
full-time
Vulcan
job
mermaid
taking care of,
astronaut.
you know, sailors and
So,
folks who might be injured. We don't expect any injuries, but coming back, you know, going 25,000 miles an
some of
hour
those
down
things
to,
are
you know,
incompatible.
20, you know, miles an hour is still a dynamic process. I've heard it described as, you know, kind of like a car crash. And then the crew will be ready to go, and Jesse and his team will make that transition to get them out to the front porch, do assessments on them again, call it to our med bay, and then once we have that
I
and they're
also
all good to
really
go
want
and
to
the crew's
see Earth
feeling
from
okay,
that view.
we'll hoist them up in the helos. It's
That would
about a
be
3-minute flight
amazing.
back to the flight deck, and that's where me and the astronaut chief Scott Tingle will actually meet them. I'll get eyes on them, make sure they're all good, just take very slow transitions.
And the only
And
song
then
running through
one
my
by
brain
one,
right
we'll
now
either
is
get them
Space
out
Oddity,
with
which
the SMTs,
we
the
don't
SAR
want that
med techs
situation.
under
Great
each
song, but we
arm,
do not
just,
want
you
that
know, kind of just
situation.
walking very slowly to med bay, which actually helps them acclimate back to 1G. Or if they really don't have their sea legs back yet, then we might put them in what we call a stair chair, which will be right behind them, and then just very slowly kind of get them back into med bay to start our full
The
assessments for the
brain
team.
of
Yeah, so a really great team here to
what was
support
I,
them as soon as they get back, and
6-year-old
also all throughout the
whose
mission, of
big
course. You
things
talked a
were The
little bit
Little
about this,
Mermaid
but
and
obviously,
Star
you know,
Trek.
we have seen astronauts return from the International Space Station for over 25 years, so we kind of know that
Those were
that
like my
journey, how
huge
it affects the
obsessions as
body.
a little
But yes,
kid.
we're talking about humans returning from the moon for the first time since 1972. How is this different from your perspective?
So it's different in one very significant respect with on Apollo, for exercise, they had something called the Apollo Exergenia, which was basically just a little canister with
This
some
is
ropes, and
true,
they would
but
have
my
some
only
resistance
exposure
to
to
kind of do that. And
mermaids
the
at the
Apollo
time was
really liked
Disney,
that. They
so...
liked the ability to exercise because you decondition from a musculoskeletal standpoint. You
Oh,
lose your strength and
yeah,
your
and they
stamina very
wouldn't have
quickly.
had much
We had something
room
called the Orion flywheel,
to move
which was
around.
able to impart much greater loads in terms of resistance, so they're able to do
Oh,
squats,
good.
deadlifts, different things, not dissimilar to what the ISS astronauts
Wow.
do,
They
but with a
actually had
lot
an
less room to
exercise
do it.
equipment on
And they
that
also did
capsule?
rowing activities for
I have
cardiovascular health,
stood next
and the crews
to
loved
the
it.
Apollo 11 capsule.
But for the
There was
lunar
no
crews,
room
the
for
future lunar
anything
crews,
in there.
maintaining that physical
I've also stood
conditioning,
next to
which
the
our
Mercury
astronaut strength
capsule,
conditioning
which was even
rehabilitation
smaller.
specialists, affectionately known as the ACERs, back in Houston, really work hard to get them in the best shape they're going to, have to be in to get to the
I
moon.
want to use
That
an
device
astronaut
hopefully will
exercise
maintain that. And
equipment.
Apollo only had about a 4.3-day journey to the moon. Our
That sounds
astronauts are going to have
cool.
about a 10 to 14-day journey.
Right.
So maintaining that physical fitness, that strength and stamina is going to be crucial for the success of being able to do those very physically demanding lunar
Yeah, because
EVAs.
another reason they have to exercise is not just the aforementioned liquid redistribution in the body,
going to the moon.
but
And also
also
the mental
because
benefit.
gravity on
They
Earth
just
provides
really like
natural
sweating,
resistance.
breaking
Anytime
sweat,
you do
and actually just
this,
feeling
you're
like,
doing a
they're
whatever
just
your
getting a
arm
workout.
weighs
So
pound
Thank you so
workout.
much, Rick. I really
But
appreciate
if
it. I
there's
know
no
they're going to be in
gravity,
good
there's
hands,
no
so we'll let you get back
resistance.
to it.
So
Thank you
there's
so
no
much.
muscle
Thanks for the time.
Back to you, Rob.
maintenance. So they have these little paddle
Okay,
wheel
Megan, back here in
thingies
Mission Control in
that they
Houston.
use that
Everything
are
is
kind of
moving
like the
along in order.
pedal
This
parts
view
of an
of
exercise
Reed
bike.
Wiseman on the left,
They
Victor
also have a
Glover on the right.
special
We have
treadmill on
good
the
suit leak
International
checks.
Space Station
Everything aboard
that actually
integrity
has
is in
bungee
excellent
cords
shape.
that spring them
The
back down.
vehicle, with the Earth growing larger and
It's really
larger in the
cool.
field of view, we're now just about 8,200 nautical miles away from Earth and closing in for a splashdown just 1 hour and 5 minutes from now.
And honestly,
Integrity, just under a minute till your GPS maneuver initiates, and both GPS units look eager to acquire.
Outstanding. Seats 3 and 4 are working on seat strap in now.
Houston copies.
Once again, as we start to close in on some of the major milestones, the first one coming up in
a
just
GPS
31
maneuver
minutes.
is literally what it
And
sounds
Integrity,
like.
just
When they get
confirming
back into
the
low Earth
LCG
orbit,
gas trap was able to be closed
they
up.
basically do a little
Affirmative.
boop boop to ask the satellites exactly
Crew module,
where
service
they're at.
module separation scheduled just 31 minutes from now. The key point of interest, of course, will be the performance of Integrity's heat shield during its high-speed
we need
entry
that heat
back into
shield.
Earth and the peak
Heat shield
heating
good.
that is expected around the spacecraft of some 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. On Artemis I, as I think most folks know by now, we flew a trajectory known as a skip entry, in which we performed an initial
Most
dip
folks
into the
know by now.
atmosphere to
There's an
bleed off some
XKCD
energy.
for that.
Then we skipped out of the atmosphere and dipped back into the atmosphere before splashing down in the Pacific. But after the mission was over with, we noticed unexpected liberation of some of the charring effects on the heat shield known as AVCOAT. Before the flight, we had an opportunity to sit down and talk with Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling to get a perspective on what this all means and how the mission was redesigned to try to protect Integrity's heat shield to a higher extent. Let's take a look at that interview.
So he kind of described
Returning
the skip
from
maneuver,
the moon is a lot
but
different than
basically
deorbiting from low Earth orbit. When we return from the moon, we expect to
bounce
achieve
off the
velocities
atmosphere to
upwards
slow
of
yourself down.
36,000 feet per second. And in order to slow down to a nice, graceful splashdown in the Pacific Ocean, the flight crew is going to experience between 3 and 4 times the force of Earth's gravity. On Artemis I, pressure buildup inside the char layer of the heat shield resulted in the char losses we saw. NASA established a Tiger team whose job was to investigate the cause of the problem and then make recommendations on how to fly the Artemis II mission safely and successfully. And so for Artemis II, we are going to fly a profile that ensures the spacecraft will not see that same type of pressure profile. And so the char losses seen on Artemis II will not be like the ones that we saw on Artemis I.
Rick Henfling indicated that the orientation of the spacecraft and the shortening of the distance of transit to the splashdown zone from the point of entry interface when we reach the top of the Earth's atmosphere, which will be coming up at 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, should do the trick in minimizing the deleterious forces against that heat shield that were noticed on the Artemis I mission.
We think we see a beautiful sunrise over the west coast of Australia.
I'm so tempted. I mean, I obviously can't because I'm down here and they're up there. But if I was ever in a situation where it was an option to flick the switches,
Commander Reed Wiseman reveling in his final hour in space on this mission.
Oh, also,
as Integrity is passing
remember during the launch when I went, "Oh, somebody has a kitty," and they had a stuffed kitty? It turns out that was Artemis from Sailor Moon. I couldn't tell what it was. I just went,
southwest
"Little
and
white
northeasterly
kitty."
transit across the Pacific Ocean.
But it makes sense that it was Artemis.
Let's talk a little bit more about some of the highlights.
Oh yeah,
and
they are
some of the
so much slower than they were when they took off.
Points of interest here. We are 27.5 minutes away from crew module service module separation. That will be followed about 3.5 minutes later by the raise burn that we've discussed, a 19-second burn of Integrity's thrusters to fine-tune its angle of attack as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface is scheduled 47.5 minutes from now. That's the point at which we will reach the top of the Earth's atmosphere, traveling about 34,882 feet per second at an altitude of 400,000 feet. Just 24 seconds after entry interface, we will begin a blackout period of 6 minutes in duration at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. Now, right about 10 seconds after the blackout period begins, we are expected to reach peak speed, which would be 24,661 miles an hour. That'll be about 103 miles an hour short of the velocity record set by the Apollo 10 astronauts, Tom Stafford, Gene Cernan, and John Young, when they returned from the moon on the Apollo 10 mission in 1969. That blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes in duration. At 6:54 and 52 seconds p.m. Central Time, we'll reach our peak heating period of about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees while we're in a communications blackout from Integrity and its astronauts. That blackout should end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time, at which point we expect to regain communications with the crew. Capcom Jackie Mahaffey here in the flight control room will be talking to the crew, calling them, and we'll await a response from the crew as they come out of that blackout period. And at that point, their altitude will be just 157,000 feet above the Earth, traveling at 13,000 feet per second, with a range to splashdown of just 147 nautical miles. From that point on, the next key series of events will be the deployment of a series of parachutes that we discussed before. First, the forward bay cover chute deploy that will pull the forward bay cover away from the top of Integrity, followed by drogue chute deploy and then the main chute deploy. That's expected at 7:04 and 44 seconds p.m. Central Time. That will begin the gentle descent of Integrity towards its splashdown at just a velocity of just 19 miles an hour. And that will begin the recovery operations that you just heard Megan Cruz discuss with her folks on the USS John Murtha.
I still have my lunch
All of Integrity's
peanuts.
systems in great
I'm holding
shape. The
off
crew
on
is
them
suited up.
because you're only supposed to eat the peanuts. Why am I showing you the peanuts? I have no
milestone,
for the peanuts.
which will be the crew module service module separation,
which are only supposed to be eaten after the tense moments are over. And I will not be eating them on the side where they broke my crown the other day. But I will be celebrating with lunch peanuts. Or landing peanuts, splashdown peanuts.
All of the activities from the start of entry interface to the point of splashdown will be quite rapid fire, just 13.5 minutes from the point at which we begin descent into the Earth's atmosphere till splashdown. And just to show you, as Rick Shearing, the flight surgeon, alluded to in his interview with Megan Cruz, all of this happens to decelerate the vehicle from traveling around Mach 33 to just 19 miles an hour at splashdown. All of that happening in just 13.5 minutes. But the vehicle and the parachutes are all designed to support all of that, so we'll be standing by to report all that to you in sequential fashion as these milestones are ticked off and as we hear
NASA
from
actually
the crew
made a playlist for it on Spotify.
Back into the Earth's atmosphere, and ultimately when they emerge from the blackout period, and at that point we'll be just minutes away from splashdown.
Any songs I know? Oh. Somebody picked Under Pressure, which I approve.
So with all of those preparations ongoing, we can return here briefly for another report from the USS John P. Murtha and Megan Cruz. Megan?
But looks like Run to the Water by Live was probably today, so if they put these in order.
And we'll regain that communication with the USS John P. Murtha just momentarily.
Because I always get a wake-up song from NASA. Every time.
In the meantime,
it's
everything
both a
is
comms check
on track
and an alarm
aboard
clock.
Integrity, the flight control team here in Houston, led by Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling, The voice you will hear talking to the crew is that
it's
of
a peach guava
Jackie
sparkling
Mahaffey.
water.
She will be
Yum, yum.
reporting
Hydration.
everything to the crew and receiving their reports as they enter the Earth's atmosphere for their 13.5-minute plunge back into the atmosphere for splashdown off the coast of San Diego. Now we have the ship back with us and Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha. Megan?
11 balloon, right?
And that's the ship that's going to pick them up after they are sploosh.
Hey, Rob, yeah, the excitement is really building here on the ship. I'm watching right now one of the weather balloons being
the ship with the medical guy and the module recovery system.
We are tracking the right kind of weather and also
all that kind of stuff, because you don't want to accidentally litter in the ocean with your space junk.
Team. Again, it's a team out of NASA that
as cool as it would be to repurpose
that comes off of Orion, again, some of those pieces of the parachute
modules into artificial reefs.
They don't fall on us here in the sea, and also
after they go
our aerial assets, folks in helicopters. So watching that float away right now. But with me right now is Captain Eric Kenny. He's the commanding
They go splash in the Pacific Ocean, where they then get picked up by the boat.
Naval ship. Thank you so much for being here. There are so
Navy
many
people will come at me if I call it a boat.
That's absolutely right, yeah. But first of all, on behalf of the crew of USS John P. Murtha, Megan, thanks for having me on today. Happy to tell you what
fun
we're
fact
doing,
for Trekkies. Did you know
that
that Mike Okuda
Why don't we actually take a look at the flight deck
eponymous
here?
Okudagrams.
Basically, we also, while watching this weather balloon float away, we notice all 4 helicopters leave the flight deck. We now have an empty flight deck.
Mike Okuda actually designed several NASA mission patches
that will go recover the crew. This is just one of the many things that, again, our ship of 550 people, it's something that you oversee as commanding officer.
Yeah, absolutely. Every commanding officer, I would say really every naval service member, our priority is always safety.
And of course,
as the commanding
there's
officer,
been an astronaut on TNG.
One of my primary roles here on board. Mission accomplishment is important.
She was a transporter chief.
So my day really has, I would say my message to the crew has sort of changed over the past 24 hours. As we're leading up to today, we've been building up the excitement and motivating the team for the training that we've executed. But really over the past 24 hours, now I'm trying to get us to slow down a little bit. Trust our training. Right? Don't believe all the hype. Don't believe everything that's going on. Just let's trust what we've done to get to this point.
Don't do the lean.
And if we do that, we'll be successful today.
There. I made myself
obviously the
Twitch mission
patch between NASA and the U.S. military. How does it feel being able to support the human space program we have?
Yeah, I mean, since 1959 with Mercury, Gemini, Apollo.
Gemini or Gemini are both equally valid pronunciations in NASA
like any other
speak,
skill,
my guy.
If you don't practice it regularly, that skill atrophies. So we've had a few decades off from that. But, over the past 4 or 5 years, really with this ship over the past year, we've constantly trained and working for this moment right here. Building up the hype, but to get to this point today.
Yeah, when we went to see the Mercury and Apollo capsules at the Smithsonian, my girlfriend thought they were scale models because they were so small, but I'm like, no, babe, look at the re-entry chart. Look at the re-entry chart. This is the legit thing.
Some great words this morning saying just
and
that.
I saw
again,
the last
that
boots
really
that
nice
walked on the moon, and I saw some lunar regolith, and we didn't spend nearly enough time in there because we were in the last slot of the day, so as we were leaving, the Mars Cafe was actually closed. 10 out of 10 experience. Would go again.
Any warship in the United States Navy is
not just because I told the filming model
of
the original series Enterprise that I loved.
That being said, as my change of command was approaching, and I realized that Artemis was going to be in the window here, to say that I'm humbled and honored to be here is an understatement.
Which is part of why I was so amused that their new descent
the opportunity to see this crew who
path went from 3,000 miles after they went skidoop,
come together
off the atmosphere down to 1,701 miles.
And pride they
that
take,
tickled me.
They make my crew better. I think we're making NASA better together. That synergy is something that I'm happy to see and hopefully take forward with me in my career.
Yeah, it's all about partnerships. We couldn't do it without you, and we couldn't have gotten to the moon without our international partners as well. So thank you so much, Captain. It was really great to have you here today.
Thanks, Megan.
Awesome. All right, Rob, back to you.
Into the Smithsonian? I would...
Thank you, Megan. Back here in Mission Control in Houston. We just had
bounce
a
the balls in
the
gift
crew.
shop.
We'll get that view back, and there they are
then
again.
I would go
here
back
in
up
Mission Control,
to
the entry team
space
of flight controllers led
level
by Rick Henfling and Jackie Mahaffey serving as
pretend
the
I was
spacecraft
helping
communicator.
clean.
We have just handed over
beautiful
communications links from the Deep Space Network that we communicated with the crew through from the time of the translunar injection burn back on April 2nd. We've just handed back to the Tracking and Data Relay satellite system as we prepare for the crew module service module separation that will take place just 17 minutes from now. With the Earth looming in front of Integrity as it barrels back for a splashdown of the Pacific just 50 minutes from now. We're just 5,700 nautical miles from splashdown.
We'd both be like, uh-oh, we don't have a phone charger.
Quick note about the comparison.
But she's real into space too.
From the
like
Artemis I entry profile
our
to the Artemis
anniversary
II
morning,
profile,
we were both up until 6 a.m.
Serving as a
well, 7 a.m. for her, 6 a.m. for me, because we were chatting about various unmanned space probes.
The Artemis I entry had an entry range of some 3,178 nautical miles,
Cassini,
a very long down track, and a very longer
laughing
period
at
of
the Mars
exposure
climate
to heat loads than we're
probe
experiencing
failure,
tonight.
And then getting sad about Apollo 1.
So that we discussed earlier, dipping into the Earth's atmosphere, then back out, then back in. It was about 20 minutes of exposure.
Integrity, Houston, comm check on TDRS.
Jackie, we have it loud and clear on TDRS.
We have you the same.
Hi, Julian.
And there's one of the weather balloons being deployed from the USS John P. Murtha.
And they always check the exact weather conditions so they can estimate exactly where they're going to have to do the pickup and how hard it's going to be.
So the Artemis I entry had the vehicle.
Any update on GPS? We haven't seen a track in yet.
I mean, going to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum was legitimately our first in-person date, so
should be within the
that is who we are as people. Hi!
Okay, sounds good. We're holding at step 17 and getting ready for CMRCS hot fire.
And that exchange indicating that we are expecting to acquire data from the GPS system on board. That'll be a navigational tool that will basically tell Integrity's computers that they're on track down the center line of the corridor
That's
to the
not
entry
a normal
interface
human
that will
sentence
lead them
to say.
their splashdown point.
Once
again, the Artemis I entry
to the point where we have all these tools, like the GPS, that could super help re-entry.
We're going to reach a downtrack distance
but also could potentially
of
be in the way.
1,701 nautical miles from the point of entry interface with just 14 minutes of duration.
I'm still
and it's basically a different angle of
miles.
attack, a little bit steeper angle of attack that will protect the heat shield from excessive heat loads. So that is the difference between Artemis I and Artemis II, all designed into this mission to gather data, to protect the heat shield, since the Artemis III mission and beyond will have a different designed heat shield that will allow that skip entry type of profile to be resumed for all of the future missions coming back from the south pole of the moon when we initiate lunar landings.
There's the Artemis. There's the Sailor Moon Artemis right there.
So we've handed over to the Tracking and Data Relay satellite system. That's where we'll have communications for the rest of the flight. Just to give you some time hacks here, we're 13.5 minutes away from crew module, service module separation. And just 17 minutes away from the raise burn, that 19-second firing of the thrusters that will basically be the final fine-tuning of the angle of attack for Integrity.
I saw it on launch and I went, somebody has a little toy kitty cat. And then my girlfriend was like, that's Artemis from Sailor Moon. And I'm like, that makes so much sense. Oh, the seat behind Capcom.
And once again, a dueling box view of some of the assets that are involved in recovery operations today. The
Integrity. Cabin configured. All crew suited and seated.
Suited and seated.
Houston copies.
That confirmation from Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity. As you see the assets being deployed to the splashdown zone. At the time of splashdown, we expect the John P. Murtha to be about 5 miles away from Integrity, keeping a safe distance until we are sure that the vehicle is in the water and upright, and that it is in a good configuration system-wide for the recovery teams to begin to approach the vehicle to erect that inflatable raft.
2 minutes to CM RCS warm-up hot fire.
We're ready.
That call from spacecraft communicator Jackie Mahaffey indicating that we're 2 minutes away from a quick burst of the reaction control system. Thrusters, that will be a hot fire test prior to the separation of the crew module from the service module. The European service module has performed flawlessly throughout this flight. Everything, all the burns that had been prescribed for that service module
trying to avoid people getting pre-roll ads because I don't
without a problem,
think I can turn
there
that
is
off.
the European flight control room
so
that has overseen
if I manually run 3 minutes of ads, it'll disable it for an hour.
European service module. They deserve quite a bit of credit on this
Next
mission
stop,
for not only propelling
so right there.
the Integrity and its astronauts toward the moon, but also conducting the fine-tuning of its trajectory to bring it to this point where we are dead spot on down the middle of the corridor trajectory-wise to bring Integrity down for its splashdown in the Pacific just 44 minutes from now.
Also known as all of that. Oh, my arm is going off my camera motion capture. All of that. The Earth. We love an Earth. It's my favorite Earth. Now it's the only planet in the known universe where people are aware that you can get pizza.
What you're looking at is a computer-generated visualization based on real-time telemetry from Integrity. Currently traveling about 16,000 miles an hour.
Yee, go zoom zoom. It's the helicopter with life, the universe, and everything. That's what that copter's for. It's kind of wobbly. It's a little windy down there.
Integrity traveling about 16,000 miles an hour.
For the prop cautions, we're taking a look.
Copy that.
Now just about 5,100 miles from Earth. Splashdown scheduled 43 minutes from now. We're just 9.5 minutes away from the crew module service module separation. We are confirming.
Integrity, we are assessing details, but so far looks like a good hot fire.
Looks good on board, Jackie. Thank you.
And Jackie Mahaffey took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say that we had a good hot fire test of the thrusters in advance of the crew module service module separation that's coming up just 8.5 minutes from now. This will begin the period in which we will have rapid-fire succession of critical activities on board that will lead to entry interface just 28 minutes from now, where the vehicle will enter the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet. The time of entry interface, 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time.
I had the wrong setting on.
Integrity's astronauts were awakened at mid-morning to begin their entry preparations. And propulsion officer now reports a good hot fire test in preparation for the crew module service module separation.
That is fixed.
We're now inside 41 minutes until splashdown.
Integrity Houston, we have confirmed a good CMRCS hot fire. And although we are not seeing GPS acquired yet, you can skip the troubleshooting steps in 157 for now.
Integrity copies.
That GPS discussion indicating that we will be acquiring navigational data for Integrity through the Global Positioning System equipment on board. We just don't have it yet, but we will. All of Integrity's systems are in great shape to support its high-speed entry into the Earth's atmosphere. It, once again, will reach a peak speed of 24,661.21 miles an hour.
You're calling GPS. We at least have GPS 1 looking good on board.
In about 10 minutes, I'm going to roll 3 minutes of ads, and that should keep pre-roll ads off for people tuning in for the actual splashdown.
The Guidance Navigation and Control Officer here in Mission Control confirming that we have good lock on GPS data. We are on a communications link now through the Tracking and Data Relay satellite system. Now, following splashdown, we're going to lose that link and go to what's called a VLDR.
I want to make sure people don't tune in and then wablam
so
ad
right
as splashdown happens.
Integrity as they are on the water.
Integrity, confirm we do see good GPS.
We do too, especially GPS 1 is accepting in nav channels 1 and 3.
That GPS data is basically telling Integrity's onboard computers its position relative to the Earth, but its trajectory and its orientation according to flight dynamics and the Guidance Navigation and Control Officer is spot on. We have now armed the pyros for the crew module service module separation coming up less than 5 minutes from now. Once again,
or I'll just wait until after the module separation.
Just 10 seconds after entry interface, we will see Integrity reaching its peak speed of 24,661.21 miles per hour. That will be just seconds before we begin a 6-minute blackout period.
Integrity Houston, your vehicle is in a good config for CM-SM SEP.
Or I can do it during the blackout.
For CM raise.
I'll do it during the blackout.
Houston, we see the same on board and copy go for CM raise.
Not much will be happening anyway.
That CM raise referred to as the slight firing of 19 seconds by Integrity's thrusters with a change in velocity of 9.9 feet per second, a slight nudge of the aft end of the vehicle so that it's tilted a bit upward, providing the final angle of attack as the vehicle enters the Earth's atmosphere.
So instead of going like this, they want to go more like this.
The mitigating factor that will reduce
like
heat loads on the heat shield as we reach a point downrange from the start of entry interface.
This one is slower, which is harsher on the heat shields.
Miles to the splashdown site.
And the heat shields are very important because the atmosphere gets really, really toasty when you're moving through it that fast.
Excellent shape. We are currently 3,300 nautical miles left in this mission. Splashdown scheduled 36 minutes, 39 seconds from now.
Integrity Houston, for the 2 enabled prop cautions, what happened is while the thrusters were firing, multiple pressure sensors on each of the strings diverged a bit from each other. Those limits look to be set pretty tight. We think it could happen again when the thrusters fire in the future, so we are going to suppress those messages.
Okay.
We concur with suppress, not inhibit. Thank you.
Just tell the warning messages to
That exchange between Jackie Mahaffey, our Capcom for tonight, and Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity, indicating basically to ignore sensor data. All of Integrity's systems are in good shape.
Ignore sensor data is maybe not the right word. Just tell it to shush a little bit. Because you don't want to completely ignore it. But if I understand correctly, they had 2 sensors that were telling them the data when they fired their little
seconds till the crew module service module separation.
And it was getting wildly different numbers, and the wildly different numbers were giving a warning because they're wildly different numbers. I mean, you need to not have wildly different numbers. So they're like, that doesn't make sense to be so
all
different.
Quiet here in mission control as we enter the most critical phase of the completion of this flight. All of the preparatory activities leading up to the vehicle entering the Earth's atmosphere just 21 minutes from now.
21 minutes.
Coming up on 1 minute. Mark, 1 minute till crew module, service module separation.
And that's a fun thing to watch. It's always fun to watch the parts separate. At least it is to me. Oh, goodness. My body is going, this is usually the time of day that you're napping. Just a little nap. Badoop. No, Discord. Shush. Oh, that's what the Badoop was. Gotcha. Whee!
And we have confirmation of crew module, service module separation. And a great view, albeit momentarily.
Blue.
Houston, get stuff on board.
Lots of stuff going everywhere. Built-in
European
confetti.
Service module now separated from Integrity. A job well done.
Integrity, no action for the 4 CDH cautions. Those are SM related, not applicable.
Integrity.
Space confetti. Blue.
So, with Integrity now flying free on its own for the remaining 32 minutes of this mission. Next up, the raise burn, a 19-second firing of
it also comes
thrusters.
down in a different place, but it's covered by the European Space Agency, so they handle the logistics of picking it back up.
GPS 2.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark until the raise burn. Again, this is the final tweaking of the orientation of Integrity.
Feed the cats during the blackout.
To put it in the right angle, if you will, the angle of attack that it will fly in during its entrance into the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface now just 18 minutes, 25 seconds away.
Then they do a spin.
This is a visualization, but driven by real-time telemetry. This is the maneuvering of Integrity to the raise burn orientation.
Because you want the top of the cone
just
to face
2,800
out.
miles from Earth.
Because you actually don't want it to be aerodynamic. Because if it's aerodynamic, it still falls like a bullet.
The European Service Module out the window with the sun hitting the side and the solar rays, and the NASA worm right there. It's a beautiful looking machine.
Roger.
want to read all the numbers. Can't read them from here.
And we have completed the maneuver to the raise burn orientation. 1 minute away from the raise burn.
See, we got the helicopters up there still prepping. You think you have a lot of monitors set up. Bro's got, looks like laptop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 monitors, and a tiny little monitor of some kind. And that looks standard for every station. Which makes sense because you have a lot of data to look at. And you can't be tabbing back and forth. And I notice everyone's got their little Artemis mission patches. The little upside down diamondy.
And the crew module raise burn is underway. A 19-second firing of the thrusters. And we have a completion of the burn.
Let's see if I can find whatever. Oh, Capcom also has an Artemis.
Integrity, good. CM raise burn. Your flight path angle is within limits.
Integrity copies. Looks good on board, Jackie.
So the final maneuver is now complete. Our trajectory for a splashdown in the Pacific 29 minutes from now is set and will not be amended any further. And we have the right angle of attack to mitigate any excessive heat loads on the vehicle during entry interface.
Integrity, Houston, a heads up about comm coverage. When you perform the 180 roll, for the first minute or so in that attitude, we expect about a minute LOS.
LOS is loss of signal.
We copy.
So for those who are watching the series of events coming
up. No, I
up,
thought you'd narrate it for people who weren't watching, bro.
Enter the first traces of Earth's atmosphere 14 minutes, 45 seconds from now. 6:53 and 30 seconds is what is pegged for entry interface at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling at approximately 34,800 feet per second, range to touchdown or splashdown 1,701 nautical miles. 24 seconds after entry interface, we will enter a 6-minute blackout period in which we will lose communications with the crew. This is expected due to the buildup of plasma around the vehicle. That's an ionization effect due to the collision, if you will, of the velocity of the spacecraft with the friction of the Earth's atmosphere.
Air is actually a pretty thick
thing. That 6-minute blackout is expected to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. During that period of time, we will reach our peak speed of 24,661 miles per hour. That comes just short, based on unofficial data from the flight dynamics officer right now, will come just short of the velocity record set by Apollo 10 of 24,791 miles per hour in 1969. We
which is why they have to go in the exact opposite of aerodynamic. Because if they're going aerodynamic, they're going to fall fast like a bullet. If they fall butt first,
at that point,
they're going to slow down, which is why they need the heat shield.
204,000 feet above the Earth, traveling at 33,000 feet per second. The blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes. We expect that blackout period to end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time.
We're already past that.
From the end of the blackout period until splashdown, it is just 7 minutes, at which point we'll start deploying the series of parachutes to slow Integrity down to an ultimate splashdown velocity of just 19 miles an hour.
I'm confused.
We see the same, waiting for the 180 rolls.
How can... It's already 7:06 Central Time. I am very confused now.
The parachute deployment sequence, once again, will come in several segments, but in rapid fire succession.
And we have a great view of the moon out window 2. Looks a little smaller than yesterday.
What a charming thing to have said.
Guess we'll have to go back.
Aw, I like that. That's a good response.
Reed Wiseman and Jackie Mahaffey exchanging discussion on a view of the moon that Integrity's astronauts are seeing in the final minutes of this mission that will be completed with splashdown just 25 minutes from now. 3 forward bay cover parachutes will be used to pull the forward bay cover off the top of the vehicle. Then 2 drogue parachutes will be deployed to slow and stabilize the crew module during its descent, followed by 3 pilot parachutes that will lift and deploy the main parachutes from the forward bay. The final sequence will have 3 main parachutes deployed. These will be 116 feet in diameter, each main parachute approximately 265 feet long when reefed. The parachutes will ultimately slow Integrity down from its peak speed of almost 33 times the speed of sound
Go
to
fast.
a gentle 19 miles an hour at splashdown.
Go slow. I say slow. I can't go that fast.
The vehicle is now currently in a roll to the proper attitude for entry interface. Our trajectory is right on according to flight dynamics.
As a treat. It's so funny to see that NASA doesn't use dark mode for a lot of things. You'd think they use dark mode, but no.
Integrity is on a trajectory from southwest and northeast across the Pacific Ocean, descending at a rate of 15,000 feet per second. Range to touchdown 4,300 nautical miles, all the systems in excellent shape.
That's quite a view. And quite a glare.
Integrity, Orion in the EI roll 180 attitude.
Looks good on board, Jackie.
This view out of one of Integrity's windows. We had a call for 3 good baros. Those are barometric pressure sensors that feed altitude and rate of descent information to Integrity's computers that will trigger the parachute deployment sequence. We are less than 9 minutes away from entry interface, 22 minutes from splashdown.
Hey, look, it's the bright orb. We like the bright orb. Ooh. Orange.
You can see the reflection of one of the crew members in the window. Out in the Pacific, the weather conditions remain go.
Good.
Just a few clouds,
it's a little late
some scattered
for it not
clouds.
to be.
Winds at 10 knots. Wave heights just about 4 feet. A gentle day in the Pacific for the homecoming of Integrity's astronauts.
What that? Debris? What is the dot? It's either debris or a little reflection.
Integrity back in EI attitude.
Could be a reflection. It did not move like debris.
We see the same on board, Jackie. Houston, purge is complete. Crew and vehicle are configured for entry.
I want to wipe the screen.
Houston copies.
So many specs.
And we're in step 37, transferring nav state to BFS.
I don't know what BFS is. Let me see.
And Houston, in instruction 509, we are not below 0.2.
Belly first entry is basically what that means. Okay. No, that doesn't make sense.
Integrity, no action required.
Integrity.
No. Okay, well, I can't find what the correct BFS means. The problem with NASA acronyms...
Now 6 minutes away from entry interface.
There are only so many letters.
We will hit the first traces of Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling about 34,882 feet per second. Ranged splashdown at that point will be 1,701 nautical miles.
It goes zoom. That's how a re-entry goes.
And once again, just a reminder, some 24 seconds after entry interface, we do expect to lose communications with the vehicle and the crew during a 6-minute blackout period when a plasma shield will build up around the spacecraft due to the ionization, due to heating effects.
And the videos I've seen from inside the spacecraft of the
we will
plasma
have a blackout period of
re-entry
exactly
is
6
really
minutes
cool.
in duration. And once again, that's due to the fact that a plasma buildup around the vehicle will prevent communications and data, so we will not be able to talk
like the
to
sky
the
is
crew
on
members
fire.
at that time, nor will we receive data here in the flight control room.
Houston, everything is looking good on board. Just confirm no pre-EI downloads.
Houston concurs.
That blackout period to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time, and again will last about 6 minutes in duration.
With the side effect of whoop, 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 as the helicopters come to get the dudes and
We're 4 minutes away from entry interface.
The gender-neutral dudes who have touched the stars, but not literally, because that would hurt, and you'd probably lose in everything. It's so pretty. It's been a long road. That's what that view is saying to me, is Enterprise opening. I'm very good at sound effects. It's why I'm such a good dungeon master. And also, I like making sound effects. Sound effects are fun. Man, I just remembered last year at Comic Palooza, I met Adam Savage.
From Integrity.
And he wrote on my autograph,
as
"Stay
it crosses
obsessed."
from southwest to northeast across the Pacific Ocean, 3 minutes from entry interface.
I like to think Adam would be proud.
16.5 minutes till splashdown. The USS John P. Murtha and the recovery team is on station and in position, as are the airborne imagery assets that we hope to receive imagery from.
Yes, thank you, AccuWeather. I'm well aware that the historic
Earth's
moon mission is coming to an end
and
with
through
astronauts
parachute
splashing
deployment.
down. I don't need to tap for live updates. I am the live updates. It's really given Enterprise opening. Except backwards,
all
because
of
Enterprise
Integrity's systems are in great shape. The crew is ready to complete its mission just 15.5 minutes from now. All of the activities today have gone off in perfect fashion. No issues with the vehicle, no issues with the crew. And the weather at the splashdown site is go.
No issues with the tissues. I don't know why I'm Picard maneuvering. You can't see that. I will touch the sky.
Coming up on 1 minute until entry interface. Mark, 1 minute until entry interface. 1 minute, 20 seconds until the expected start of our 6-minute blackout.
Integrity, 1 minute to a 6-minute blackout.
Integrity.
It really is such a pretty view of the clouds. Clouds from above or clouds from the middle are so neat. Like my favorite altitude to fly at is about 2,000 feet to 2,500 feet, because that's right when you're at the bottom of the clouds. And it's like I could reach out and go boop on a cloud.
And we have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere. We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second. Time to splash down, 13 minutes, 10 seconds.
Ah, here comes the glow of the atmosphere. The glow of air be hot. Oh, blue.
And as predicted, we've entered our communications blackout.
Okay.
This will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew.
And I'm going to run 3 minutes of ads to prevent pre-roll ads from later, and it's also going to give me a good opportunity to feed the cats.
We're 30 seconds away
Those
from
of you
the
who have
anticipated point
ad-free,
of peak
I'm not going to go to my
vehicle,
BRB screen. I'm going to leave it here.
Temperatures will rise to
Or
about
for those
4,000
of
to
you watching on
5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the true test of our trajectory. And from the G5 aircraft in the vicinity of the splashdown zone, this view of Integrity. So that pinpoint of light shows the vehicle as it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity being felt by Integrity's astronauts since their launch back on April 1st. Four and a half minutes until the end of the blackout period. Time to splash down, 11 minutes, 33 seconds. The landing and support officer reports that the P3 has acquisition on integrity. Three and a half minutes left in this blackout period. This is a visualization of the plasma buildup around the spacecraft and the repelling of that heat on Integrity's heat shield. Flight Dynamics reports that airborne assets in the vicinity of the splashdown zone do have a visual on Integrity. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period. Time to splashdown, 9 minutes, 35 seconds. Multiple airborne assets as part of the recovery team all have visuals on Integrity. And the WB-57 flying in the splashdown zone also has a visual. And the Navy helos also have visuals. We're still in the blackout period. Still do not have communications from the crew. We're standing by for communications from the crew. We should be out of the blackout period less than a minute from now.
Doing my own little re-entry calibration dance there, apparently. It's fire! The air is fire!
We are now processing data from Integrity.
That was not my cursor. That was NASA's cursor. Everyone hates this moment because it's all super tense, but also super expected. Like, they know this blackout happens.
Landing and support officer
you can't help but be
small
nervous.
Boats are en route to the splashdown target zone.
It's a dot in the sky. I think what happens is it tries to pick up my chair, because I have one of those fancy gaming chairs, and it's got stripes down the side, which it thinks are my arms. So it's going, that's an arm. Wait, no, it's not an arm. Yes, it's an arm. No, that's not an arm. Yes, it's an arm. It's an arm. No, it's not an arm.
Of Integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
It's on fire.
Integrity, Houston. Post-blackout.
No, I'm not going to say that because that just makes me sad.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Your trajectory is nominal, and your recovery teams have visual.
And just as a reminder, nominal basically means it's what we expected.
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
Big cheers from the viewing room
Hello,
here in Mission
photographer.
Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reed Wiseman.
Ooh, I'm sorry if you're
America,
photosensitive.
in a waiting world, integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home.
Boogie, rave. Rave time! Woo! That's not great if you're a photosensitive.
Passing 100,000 feet now.
I'm not photosensitive and it's...
Range to Splashdown 19 nautical miles.
Oh no! The Porygon effect! NASA, what are you doing, buddy? And once you get on my second monitor, on my stream monitor, I'm gonna put a warning into YouTube there. Okay.
Integrity impact to the camera controller fail is no Cab 1 views of the chutes.
Integrity.
Cab 1 views of the chutes? What does that mean?
We're processing good data through the GPS system. A good view of integrity, time to splashdown 4.5 minutes.
He's still going pretty fast. It's going fast.
And a view of integrity from the WB-57. We're at 50,000 feet.
It's not on fire anymore. It's slow enough to not be a fireball. That's so surreal. Oh, looks like they're with the chutes. No? Those cloud puffs. Okay.
The pyros are armed for forward bay covered jettison.
That looks freaky. Poor people in a partial cone just falling. There we go.
And there go the first series of parachutes. And we're on drogues.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drogues out the window.
2 good drogue chutes. Next up.
We copy, we see them.
Next up, the deployment of
like
pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
So you need different chutes because different layers of the atmosphere are different thicknesses, and if you put the wrong one out in the wrong conditions, it could tear.
Perfect descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Or just not inflate.
We see the same on board.
Oh no, they're passing into the static realm. Oh no! The static realm! Okay, there we go.
Passing through 10,000 feet. Still on drogues.
And if you try to pull the regular chutes out too early, they won't be able to catch the air when you get down into the thicker air. Okay, there go the pilot chutes, and there's the big
main
chutes.
Main chute deploy.
Come on, go poofier.
We're at 5,000 feet.
There we go. That one little parachute didn't want to open.
Search and recovery beacon has been activated on integrity.
Ah, they look like jellyfish.
And we have 3 good main chutes. Good 3 main chutes, good reefing, good descent rate.
Good rates, and we see 3 good-looking parachutes.
Look, it's got a smiley face. It's got 2 little, and then the line of shadow from the top part made it have a little smiley face, a little kawaii.
Cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
I'm guessing that's an infrared shot.
This is a perfect descent for integrity. Its crew sounding hale and hearty on board.
And you can see behind the closed captioning how hot the actual capsule
1 minute,
still
15
is.
seconds.
Those things get spicy.
Integrity about to complete a journey spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon.
Just a casual trip around the moon, as one does, to get some cheese. One day, if we colonize the moon, you can bet your butt there will actually be moon cheese. But not made of moon. Just of moon-grown, cheese-producing creatures. And look, see, it's spurting. I think that's little retro rockets.
Passing through 1,000 feet.
Because this is the infrared again. No, retro rockets don't make sense. They're pointed the wrong way. I don't know what those are then. Yeah. Colors. That's a nice colored shot with the ocean in the background. And you can clearly see why they want red and white parachutes.
Integrity Splashdown sending post-landing command.
Yay!
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy Splashdown, waiting on VLDR.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time.
I'm so confused.
From the pages of Jules Verne to a modern-day mission to the moon, a new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete.
Is this 30 minutes delayed?
Integrity's astronauts back on Earth.
I think it's 30 minutes delayed. No, because it says live. Oh yeah, live minus 20. Okay.
And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1.
I'm half an hour behind.
Deploying the
for
crew
some
module
reason.
uprighting system to maintain that orientation.
Don't know why.
A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
Well, that means it's on NASA's end, because they said, 7:07, which was when my ping from the weather thing is off. They might have done an intentional delay just to make sure nobody did a bad before the world sees it.
7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time. We'll get that refined for you.
Because see, it's 7:34 for me.
The end of the mission at a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes, 35 seconds. And we're configuring
I might have
for a
accidentally
very low data rate.
Paused it earlier somehow.
Once again, splashdown occurring in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego at 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m.
Integrity Houston, comm check on VLDR.
Houston, we have you loud and clear on VLDR. How else?
We have you the same. We'll meet you over in post-landing.
I might have paused it earlier when I was doing my checks.
Perfect communications established.
A journey. We are stable.
That could be it.
4 green crew members.
But I guess now that it's happened, it doesn't matter. Because it's all archival footage.
Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members. That is not their complexion. That is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means. So stable 1, upright. The crew module uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for Integrity. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
They're way out there. They got little balloons and blinky lights to be like, hey, we're over here, guys. Come and pick us up. We could really use a cheeseburger. And some fries, and maybe some fried pickles, and I'm making myself hungry. I like the brightly colored division shirts. I'm sure that's a Navy thing.
We continue
Navy flight deck
to
thing?
monitor the functioning of the CMOS system. The airbags are being inflated to maintain a stable one or upright configuration. And there's a good view from one of the naval helicopters
well, it was
hovering
a good view.
overhead.
It was a good view when he said it, and then it wasn't.
Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape.
Static dimension. Woo! It's the reflection of the ocean dimension, but it's a static dimension.
Integrity Houston for SAR beacon and radio.
Now it's really the static dimension. My goodness.
SAR beacon is in 406.
Oh, we've gone back to 1983 internet.
We see the beacon on. However, the recovery team is not seeing the signal. Your SAR radio uses the same antenna, so you may run into trouble with the radio.
Interesting.
Okay, copy. We are also powering up the sat phone now.
Oh, they've got a sat phone. That's nifty. Apollo didn't have a sat phone.
So Integrity is in great shape. And as the crew continues its post-splashdown timelined activities on board, Reed Wiseman once again reporting that all 4 crew members are in excellent shape. And we have 5 inflated airbags to maintain an upright configuration so that the recovery team can now begin a slow approach to the vehicle. Meanwhile, here in the flight control room, Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling is polling his team of flight controllers for the start of powering down the vehicle after a thorough systems check. We have no toxic gases to be concerned about, so the recovery personnel can approach the vehicle, but not until we have powered down the spacecraft. That's expected to take a few more minutes.
So their little beacon that says, "Hey, come get us for cheeseburgers and a pizza party," was showing as blinking on their end, but the guys who are supposed to come pick you up, they're like, "New spacecraft, who dis?"
Integrity back on Earth, following its historic flyby of the moon. It was, for all intents and purposes, a textbook mission.
On 28 per hour remain on this frequency.
So they're getting off the cell phone, the sat phone.
We copy.
Hit me up with them digits, Navy.
Reed Wiseman indicating some trouble with the SARSAT phone on board.
Oh, the sat phone's having issues now. Okay.
What is more important is that the vehicle is solid. No issues as we begin the power down of the vehicle.
Like we know where we are, obviously. We can see them. But like the official tech.
The propulsion officer here in Mission Control reports that we have safed the prop system on Integrity.
Can you say again that was very weak and broken?
Integrity, Houston did not call.
I accidentally clicked the talk button. Been there, done that.
Copy that, Houston. It might have been on the SAR radio. Stand by.
All of the milestones were executed in perfect fashion. Integrity entering the Earth's atmosphere right on time, reaching its peak speed shortly after a blackout period began. We emerged from the blackout period, but the recovery imagery airborne assets were able to pick up Integrity's descent almost immediately through entry interface, tracking the vehicle all the way down.
Bobbling in the water.
Finally, you saw the sequence of chute deployments. First, the forward bay cover being pulled off the top of the vehicle.
Oh,
by
maybe
a
the other
series
one
of
is
3
there
parachutes.
where they get out.
Then the drogue chutes
that would make sense.
Were deployed, followed by the 3 main chutes that slowed the splashdown velocity of Integrity to just 19 miles an hour.
It's got to be so weird. You've been in space for over a week, and then suddenly you're just bobbing along in the water.
Integrity, Houston, with no joy on SAR and SAT phone, we'd like you to command an additional 15 minutes for a total of 30-minute power down delay.
Interesting. Turn it off and then turn it back on, I guess.
All right, Jackie, we have selected T/D plus 30. No joy on SAR radio or sat phone. And stand by, we have the master diver on SAR radio. Please hold comms.
Oh, I'm holding.
Excuse me, hey, Jackie, we just got the master diver on SAR.
Hey, at least floating in the water gives the capsule time to get completely cool. Hey, look, they found him. They go, wee, we're right here.
A good view of one of the fast boats.
Integrity, Houston, if you are happy with your comm with master diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, we'll confirm here in a second.
The crew on board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of the power down of the vehicle, which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft. There are no issues with Integrity. We've had a bit of broken capability in establishing a SARSAT or satellite phone communications
show us on the map where it is.
between the
I
crew
want to see
on
where it
board
is on the map.
Integrity and the recovery team.
Let me see.
That will get sorted out here shortly. There's plenty of cooling on board Integrity, so there's no rush to begin the power down.
I tried to call you on the sat phone and not getting an answer there either.
Concur. We haven't had anything come through.
Let's see.
And Houston, if you could relay to recovery that we hear them, but it does not appear as though they are hearing us.
Interesting.
Houston copies, and Reed, just to confirm, you are pushing the PTT on the radio.
Are you pushing the button, dude?
So as we continue to sort out the communications between Integrity and the recovery teams, we are standing by for the initiation of the power down procedures that, as you see, the recovery teams are moving towards the side of the capsule. The next major event will be the erection of that large inflatable raft called the front porch. that will be the port of call for the crew as they're being extracted one by one from the vehicle.
Okay, it looks like they landed watered. Achieved Earth surface.
Integrity Houston for sat phone.
About 50
we
miles
are going to
southwest of San Diego.
Good idea, standing by.
And Jackie, yes, we are pushing the push to talk, the two buttons on the left side of the radio below the up-down arrows. We are utilizing them. I'm rebooting the radio to see if we get good comms.
Okay, we copy all, and just to confirm, you are seeing that you're touchdown plus 3030 for power, correct?
That's affirmative.
We are trying a backdoor approach to have mission control here call the crew on their satellite phone. This is all part of the coordination for the power down of the vehicle that will initiate the actual recovery operation. The first boats with the Navy divers on board are standing by, waiting to close in on Integrity to begin the process of erecting the large inflatable raft that's called the front porch that will be where the astronauts are extracted from so that they can have a few minutes to get their land legs back before they're hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters for the flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
Do not reply.
And Houston, please don't reply. NRD, very weak, but readable. Master Diver, we can hear, but they cannot hear us.
That's so funny. It's so soothing, just watching them bob along. Like a buoy full of people.
And Houston on OE1, is there any chance to tie us into NRD?
I watch things I'm standing. It says, congratulations, thanks for standing. I'm not standing. I'm just wiggly.
Checking.
Ooh, doo, doo. Spooky zoom out.
This is Mission Control, Houston. While we stand by for the establishment of communications between Integrity and the recovery team that is basically standing by very close to the spacecraft, we're going to go to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha, where Megan Cruz is standing by with Administrator Jared Isaacman.
Oh, hey, I got peanuts. I can eat my peanuts now.
Hey, Rob, yeah, just such an honor to be able to be here on the ship, to be able to share and experience this moment with everyone together. And of course, as you just said, yes, here with NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. Administrator, how did you feel getting to witness this and seeing NASA at its best?
Oh, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm still at a loss for words. I mean, you know, like the childhood Jared right now can't believe what I just saw. I mean, almost been waiting my whole lifetime to see this, and then as NASA Administrator, I just couldn't be more proud of the entire workforce, the years, the effort, the late nights, all the hard work from across the country that contributed to this incredible moment right now. And yeah, incredibly grateful too for our teams here on the John P. Murtha right now.
Yeah, look at them behind us here.
We got everybody. Hey, what do you guys think? We just brought some astronauts back from the moon, huh? Unbelievable. Thank you. Yeah, so grateful to the Navy, the sailors that are here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion spacecraft, to Integrity, get our astronauts back on the ship safely.
Yeah, and this is not just an accomplishment for NASA. This is an accomplishment for humanity. Again,
that's a cool
historic mission to the moon and back. How does this make you feel, and what do you hope people take away from this?
Well, I'll tell you, you know, I think about the crew members that we've all had an opportunity to observe over the last 10 days, right? I mean, they're absolutely professional astronauts. I mean, wonderful communicators, almost poets. But then I think these were the ambassadors from humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now. And I can't imagine a better crew than the Artemis II crew that just completed a perfect mission right now. So
presumably
yes, it's a huge moment for everybody, right? I mean, we are back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon, bringing them back safely, and set up for a series more. I mean, this is not a once in a lifetime, which you hear sometimes around here. It's like, this was a once in a lifetime. No, it's not. This is just the beginning. We are going to get back into doing this with frequency, sending missions to the moon until we land on it in 2028 and start building our base.
Yeah, are we going to build on the momentum for Artemis III? I mean, it's just around the corner.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's, you know, part of me too. Like, I can't wait to get the crew off of Integrity right now, but also getting Integrity back on this ship so we can start taking a look at it, because all that data is so precious to us right now. I mean, we are going to definitely want to take a good look at the thermal protection system. We're going to want to download all the data they couldn't transmit back to us and use that to inform Artemis III. But we're already making progress, right? You had SRB segments already showing up at KSC. Core stage for Artemis III is rolling out on April 20th.
Heck yeah!
We're getting Mobile Launcher 1 back in vehicle assembly building. So yes, there is a lot to celebrate right now on a mission well accomplished for Artemis II. And at the same time, we got to start getting ready for 3.
Humans do the science math to the space.
Who, joined us for all 10 days to see what we can accomplish together with our international partners. What do you think about the fact that we're going to keep doing this more and more and more?
It's incredibly exciting. I mean, yes, it's the contributions, like the best and brightest across the NASA workforce from across the country, our industry partners, our international partners. We had a Canadian Space Agency astronaut on board in Jeremy. We had the European service module. And you think in the days leading up to this launch, I mean, 48 hours prior to launching Artemis II, I was meeting with the Italian Space Agency. We signed a memorandum of understanding to build a habitation module on the moon. I mean, you have countries, all of our allies and partners coming together saying, we are committed to this effort. We are returning to the moon. We're doing it to stay. We are building that enduring presence. We are going to master the skills on the surface of the moon.
I was the first Canadian to get that close to the moon.
Missions to Mars. It's just an incredibly exciting time.
You go,
Canada. We're not going at it alone. We're bringing everybody along with us.
Absolutely. And speaking of everyone, one more time, we're going to ask the crew here. You guys ready to land on the moon?
Yeah. And I'm jealous.
Awesome.
I wanna.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Administrator. Appreciate you being here. We're
I just could
never
go between chronic health issues and
Orion, so
bad
stay tuned,
eyeballs.
And we'll see you back here shortly.
And, you know, lack of money.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you, Administrator Isaacman. We are in the process of working to establish that communications link.
NASA, if you're watching me,
the procedures that will lead
really
to the
want to
power
do
down of the spacecraft,
a simulation
and
a day pretending to be an astronaut. I want to go in a G-force simulator. That means you go.
That occurred at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time, 2.5 hours before sunset.
I'm going to go in the big bulky suit
in the Pacific southwest of San Diego.
In the big pool?
We have once again heard from the crew during that interview opportunity with the administrator, and we have 4 healthy crew members on board.
That's this many.
We now have confirmation that the vehicle has been powered down as per the procedures. So we have vehicle powered down, and the flight control team here in Houston, Flight Director Rick Henfling, has handed over mission authority to the Exploration Ground Systems team out in the Pacific. Now, we will physically not get off console with this team until the crew has been extracted into the front porch, that inflatable raft that will be erected along the side hatch of Integrity. So we're standing by for that in the next step in the recovery procedures. But everything is in great shape, and we have 4 healthy crew members on board the vehicle.
Magnification. A narrower lens, longer focal length, I think is the right word. Bobbing in the ocean. Man, I would feel so safe in a space capsule floating in the ocean, because like it was cool in space.
No issues. Perfect trajectory for Integrity. That was culminated with one final raise burn to improve the angle of attack for the vehicle as it entered the Earth's atmosphere. All of that flight dynamics computation worked like a charm.
Like a charm. The math did the numbers good. The people and the computers did the math numbers good.
So we are standing by for the recovery team to approach Integrity and begin the process of erecting that inflatable raft called the front porch, which will see the crew members be extracted from the hatch of Orion into that inflatable raft before they're hoisted aboard 2 Navy helicopters in
hoist.
In a variety of different configurations. Each crew member will be hoisted in sequential fashion, in alternating fashion, 2 crew members for each helicopter before they turn around to head back to the John P. Murtha. Once on the deck of the ship, they'll be brought into medical bay for comprehensive medical exams.
They got to make sure they don't have space madness.
Several times that the crew is in excellent shape.
But actually not space madness. Just, do your bones still bone? Did you run into a moopsie? That'd be horrifying. If I don't even want to think about what would happen to a mission if a moopsie got on board.
So just to recap, it has been some 26.5 minutes since the splashdown of Integrity in the Pacific. The vehicle is in excellent shape. It performed like a champ all the way down through the Earth's atmosphere. All of the vehicle functions
chemistry is so important to the space program too, because you got to have your material sciences right.
The parachutes all deployed as planned,
and you got to take in mind the heat and the oxidation and the cosmic radiation.
PM Central Time, 5:07 p.m.
Cosmic radiation can get gnarly, even with the heliosphere.
And after a bit of a tussle to try to establish a communications link with the recovery team, we were finally able to run through the procedures for the powering down of the vehicle. We've handed over mission authority to the Exploration Ground Systems folks out in the Pacific, and the recovery team will be approaching the vehicle shortly to erect the inflatable raft called the front porch, before opening the hatch to Integrity to bring the crew members onto that raft before they're hoisted onto 2 Navy helicopters, 2 crew members for each helicopter, before they're flown back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
It just sounded like he was going to. I knew he wasn't going to say that. That's not a thing that you say in NASA. I'm hungry again. Darn you, peanuts. thought of a funny joke that I could do that has nothing whatsoever to do with this. Bloop, 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 bloop. I'm trying to remember if they're seated upright or if they're laying back. I think they're laying back, maybe? I don't remember. The stitching looks like tulips, but it's actually just reinforcement and attachment. To keep it upright, they fill them with helium, which is wild. Helicopter. It's such a weird word if you think about it, helicopter. They spin around, waiting for the final. Now, I don't think we'll get interviews because they got to do their med checks first.
This is Mission Control Houston. After talking to the flight dynamics folks, we have a bit of a refinement on the splashdown time for you. Their computation shows a splashdown time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time.
They were 20 whole seconds off.
7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds.
That's a day less, a day less than they said. Roughly.
Once again, from Flight Dynamics, a splashdown time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time.
That's a lot of
That would
sevens.
equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds. Reports from
like
the Pacific indicate that the recovery team, in communications with the crew aboard Integrity, that the crew remains in excellent shape as they await the approach of the team for a final hazard gas evaluation before they move to the side of the vehicle to erect the inflatable life raft called the front porch.
Around the capsule that would make them all faint and die as they get out, because that is bad. Fainting and dying from toxic gases is usually bad. I don't know why my voice is pitching up.
Again, no issues with Integrity. The vehicle is powered down.
Sploosh.
All of its systems are now safed. We have handed over mission authority to the Exploration Ground Systems folks in the Pacific, but we will not stand down and have the entry flight control team depart its positions until that inflatable raft, the front porch is erected, the hatch open, and the crew having exited the vehicle. So that's the next step in the recovery process that will lead to the hoisting of the crew members. For 2 crew members for each helicopter, they'll be hoisted to a pair of Navy helicopters that will then fly a short distance back to the USS John P. Murtha. What you're looking at is one of the fast boats circling the vehicle to make a hazard assessment.
Oh no, the static dimension once again. Oh no! It's a nice deep blue. Hello, are you safe to breathe? Will we die if we breathe you? And the air says, what? I am not sapient. I am a gas. Or for all the Bill Nye heads out there, it's a gas! It's been so long since I watched Bill Nye the Science Guy, and I still think of that every time I hear of a gas. They're holding out their sticks. Their sticks of measurement. They're like, is this air safe? Let us do a scan. Because when you go through the atmosphere and you hit that heat, your chemicals can break down into stuff that is not good to breathe. And if it lingers when you hit the ocean, then it's introduced to salt, which is an additional chemical that could get into the mix. And some things, when you combine them with salt, are very not good to breathe. So you don't want the ocean salt or other ocean particulates to interact with anything on the capsule to make death gas. Because death gas is bad. We learned that the hard way about a century ago. A little more than a century ago. It's so quiet. They couldn't have put on interstitial music or something? And I don't want to, because I don't want to...
This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, you're watching the initiation of the recovery of the Artemis crew aboard Integrity. All of the Navy divers and the fast boats are now approaching the spacecraft after conducting a hazard assessment. The vehicle has been powered down. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling now waiting for the life raft, the front porch, to be erected along the side of the vehicle so that the hatch can be opened and the crew members extracted from Integrity, soon to be hoisted one by one into a pair of Navy helicopters for a short flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha. If you missed it earlier, we talked to Flight Dynamics and received a more official touchdown time or splashdown time, as it were, of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Pacific Time. That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds.
We're just watching them float until they get on the boat. I can't think of another thing to rhyme with that except for coat. And stoat, but there are no stoats in the ocean. Moat? They have their own personal moat. Really, Miles? I hear from behind me. He's possessed by the spirit of ghosties, of not measles, greebles. Give us the hold music. Give us the jazzy weather on the 8's music. Or like some specifically curated NASA-based tunes. Because we're just waiting. You know what? I'm going to hit my royalty-free lo-fi. Turn it down a little. Just so we don't have so much silence. Because silence bothers me.
Continuing to get excellent views from the imagery assets out at sea in the Pacific of integrity. We continue to get good reports from the landing and support officer, who's in contact with the recovery team, that the crew is in excellent shape, no issues. They're just currently biding their time, waiting for the front porch to be erected. We have no hazardous hazard gases and no hazardous situation with the vehicle. It performed perfectly all the way down from entry interface to its splashdown in the Pacific at 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time.
I wonder if they play I Spy while they're waiting.
And as you can see, the first phalanx of recovery personnel now pulling up alongside of integrity.
I'd want to touch it. It's probably cooled down by now.
This includes Navy divers, a Navy flight surgeon, and other recovery personnel who have trained for several years for this recovery process.
But I'd want to do it without a glove. I'd be like, you went to space, buddy. Hi, metal buddy. Just tap, 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 tap. Oh my goodness, I have my old.
At this hour, some 41 minutes following splashdown, the vehicle has been powered down. There's no hazardous gas emanating from the vehicle. That's why the first team of recovery personnel has been able to pull alongside integrity. And the reports continue to come in that the 4 astronauts are in excellent shape.
I expect they're probably a little bored by now. Coming down off all that adrenaline. Because I feel like no matter how well you've trained and no matter how rote it gets pushing the buttons from your training, there's still that thrill.
Yes.
No. Maybe? Spaghetti. Well, that's a TV episode victory shot and no mistake. glad I put on the music now.
This is Mission Control Houston, continuing to watch the initiation of the recovery of Integrity's astronauts. One by one, they'll be brought out of the spacecraft onto a large inflatable raft just a short time from now. In the meantime, we can go back to the USS John P. Murtha, where my colleague Megan Cruz is standing by to provide her situation report. Megan, can you hear us?
Let's get the sit rep.
Hey, Rob. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Yeah, we're back here on the bow of the recovery ship where there are still plenty of people peering out into the water. We are not very far from the action everyone is seeing on their screen now. The Orion spacecraft, Integrity, in the ocean, surrounded by a number of recovery boats.
A number.
As Rob has been saying,
know what the number is.
in those
Just
recovery boats, NASA and Navy personnel specifically trained to get the astronauts out of Orion. In some of our wide shots, you can probably see that there are 6 boats out in the water.
That is, in fact, a number.
More than 40 people out in the water right now on those boats.
The stitching looks like little tulips. Tulips of safety. Boink. 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 Boink.
First order of business.
I don't know why that's so funny.
To set up the front porch and the stabilization collar. You might also hear it referred to as a stab collar. Basically just to make sure that Orion stays upright, doesn't sway in the water too much, again, to make it easier for recovery forces to get the astronauts out.
For people who haven't had gravity for 9 days. Well, I've had little gravity. Little baby gravity.
Again, we splashed down in the Pacific Ocean just after 5 p.m. Pacific time here. It's a requirement by NASA to be able to get the crew out of Orion within 2 hours of splashdown.
Makes sense.
So doing great on time so far. Plenty of time. No rush either. I was speaking to NASA flight surgeon Rick Schuring earlier in this broadcast, and he said to me, no rush to get the crew out. Just want to make sure that they're feeling good. And whenever they're ready to take their step out of Orion and onto that large raft, the front porch, folks will be ready.
No rush. They've been chilling in the box for a while. They can chill some more, right?
And as there are mission audio loops in Mission Control in Houston, there is a mission audio loop here on the ship. And it was just reported out that the side hatch is open.
Yeah.
Side
hey guys!
Of Integrity is
How'd you like some Earth air? You want some Earth air?
We're getting these beautiful shots from our aerial assets. The ship itself, where I'm on, just 3,000 yards away. Again, plenty of people on the boat here. glued to the side closest to where they can see all this action. And again, with just 3,000 yards separating us, great views from the bow here.
Oh, there's the raft.
You can see now that side hatch is open. One of the Navy personnel is about to get inside there. In they go.
Hey guys, mind if I
total,
join you?
4 will go into Orion. So it'll be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but the goal is to have a recovery personnel with each astronaut assessing them.
Just make sure they're not space madness. I can only imagine.
Boats getting closer now. Again,
look,
that one that's right up against Orion, those are the divers that will go in to the spacecraft to check on each of the astronauts.
You good, brah?
These other boats will begin doing a number of things, putting on that stabilization collar onto Orion, building that front porch. Eventually, they will retrieve the parachutes, as well as tow Orion back to the well deck of the recovery ship here.
Wobbly, 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 wobbly.
And so as we wait for the Navy and NASA personnel to get their assessment of the crew inside of Orion, why don't we toss it back to Rob for an update?
Yeet.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. Here in Mission Control, Flight Director Rick Henfling and the entry team of flight controllers still on duty. The vehicle has been powered down for some time now. There are no hazardous gases emanating from Integrity. That, of course, allowed the recovery personnel to approach the vehicle and then open the hatch to begin the initial medical assessment of the crew, as you just indicated. Now we're standing by for the erection of that inflatable raft, the front porch, alongside of the vehicle that will enable the crew to be extracted one by one onto the raft, have a moment or two to get their land legs back before they're hoisted into 2 hovering Navy helicopters, 2 crew members for each helicopter, for a short flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha. All of Integrity's systems operated flawlessly throughout the course of the approach to the Earth, the entry into the Earth's atmosphere, and all of the key milestones that followed in this high-speed return to Earth for Integrity. A mission that spanned more than 694,000 miles from the vehicle's launch from the Kennedy Space Center atop the Space Launch System back on April 1st.
I was there, Gandalf. I don't know why that's Elrond's voice. That's not Elrond's voice at all. That's my little old lady voice. I don't know why I gave it to Elrond's line. There's something entertaining about lo-fi and just watching that bobble around.
As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the last time that the Apollo program saw a splashdown in the Pacific was Apollo 17 back on December 19th, 1972. So for the first time in 53 and a half years, we have reenacted that with the arrival of Integrity's astronauts as they flew around the moon.
Well, reenacted in that historic
lunar flyby.
Weird term.
That began with a trans-lunar injection burn that took them out of Earth orbit following 24 hours of a high Earth orbit trajectory. The high Earth orbit trajectory enabled flight controllers here to have a full 24 hours to evaluate the systems on Integrity and the condition of the crew before they would commit to flying to the moon.
Because you want to make sure all your stuff is working before you get halfway to the moon, and then you're like, uh-oh. So you always do it while you're still in Earth orbit, so it's less of a pain in the butt to have to come back down if something is wrong. As mentioned, I am a wiggly being. Let's not whack my joystick while I'm dancing. Oh, they pushed the go button. I wonder why the LCD camera turns pink when it's too bright. Why pink? I mean, I've seen it happen with green, but these ones are pink. Yeah, remember how matte colored that thing was? Now it's all shiny. Atmosphere go yum yum yum, I take all your paint. They got the yellow inflatable on it now. Are they gonna push the button and make it go?
With the side hatch of Orion having been opened to set the stage for the erection of the inflatable life raft, known as the front porch, to be erected alongside the spacecraft for the extraction of the crew. Let's play for you an interview that my colleague Megan Cruz conducted on the USS John P. Murtha with Navy diver First Class David McMahon that explains how this process is unfolding.
Literally.
Okay, Davey, so you and some of your team, one last look over of the stabilization collar, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what is this stabilization collar?
This is what's going to stabilize the capsule out there in the ocean. We don't know how good the weather or the waves will be that day, so this will help prevent any unnecessary occurrences from happening, stabilizing the capsule and the astronauts inside.
Unnecessary
so
occurrences.
That will go around Orion. I'm assuming that what they're doing right now, these are the lines that will attach the collar onto Orion.
That is correct.
And so what are they doing here?
So that just demonstrates the size of the capsule for you.
Inflation device before we inflate it. That gives us the go-ahead that it's secure in its space, and then we'll inflate it, and then once that is done, we'll undo all the carabiners and get this orange line on top tied in the same fashion, and then this will be secured to the capsule, and the astronauts can safely take their first steps out of the capsule onto the front porch.
Okay, and how long will it take them to set up the stabilization collar?
We should definitely be able to handle this in under 10 minutes.
Okay, wow. And then you just mentioned the front porch. So basically, after they set up the stabilization collar, then they set up what's called the front porch here.
That's correct.
Okay, and what's the front porch?
Front porch is basically a bigger waiting room for the astronauts to sit in while we wait for the helicopters to show up and grab them.
Okay, so the medical team that was inside with the crew, they're going to help them out and onto the front porch?
That is correct.
And then what happens here?
We have hired trained medical personnel also on board the front porch that will give them lookovers and just make sure they're okay while we wait for the helicopters to show up.
Okay. How does it feel, I mean, your team, you, to be part of a mission that's returning astronauts from the moon in more than 50 years?
We all feel truly honored to be a part of this, as well as a bigger mission for the Navy and joining up with NASA to do great things.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like you and your team are ready?
Yes, very ready.
Cool. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If they'd said no, we'd have had an issue.
Once again, the recovery operations are continuing out in the Pacific. We shortly should see that life raft, the front porch, erected alongside the side hatch
than I expected,
of the vehicle.
This is the first time I've actually watched it, so usually I stop once they go kersploosh.
A number of flight controllers have come into the flight control room to receive congratulations from Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling, but we're going to stick with our operations out in the Pacific as we await the extraction of the 4 crew members who are reported to be in excellent condition. Again, while we stand by for that front porch to be erected alongside of the side hatch of the vehicle, let's go back to the USS John P. Murtha and Megan Cruz. Megan?
They're like, we don't have anything to show right now.
Hey, Rob.
Why you gotta say it like
that? Now to listen to some... Pausing to listen to some internal audio loops again. The operations team here on the ship communicating with everyone out on the water. It seems like currents are hindering them a little bit from unfurling and inflating the stabilization collar,
the
as
ocean
well
be like
as the front porch. But again, the requirement to get the crew out within 2 hours of splashdown, plenty of time. So no concerns just yet. But as calm as the water looks, yeah, it looks like it's hindering the teams just a tad.
Got a string. What
you can see in some of our shots that side hatch still open.
Took a
Again,
rope
inside there are now
dragged it over
inside.
Back to the recovery ship.
4 divers, Navy divers, all with medical training.
I'm sure they thought that.
To an astronaut each. Making sure that they're comfortable, feeling good. As you've heard us say in the broadcast, you know, they expect a little bit of discomfort. Again, these astronauts just traveled back to Earth at 25,000 miles an hour, a nearly 695,000 mile journey around the moon.
Whee!
if you think you get car sick. Again,
Something like
6
that.
boats out there, lots of gear with them, just in case, right? As we said, the crew reported feeling great. But again, all those folks out there in case they weren't, right? NASA is all about making sure we think about every situation that can happen. And so, of course, wanted to be ready in case any of our astronauts needed more medical attention while out there in the water. You see now teams again trying to set up the stabilization collar and front porch for the crew to get out of Orion. They need both, right? The stabilization collar will keep Orion from swaying as you see it is doing now.
In motion on the ocean.
And then they will connect to the front porch to the stabilization collar so that the crew can take 2 steps and they will be in the front porch. Not a lot of chatter on the mission audio loops. That's a good thing. Again, things proceeding pretty nominally, even if they're fighting some currents out there on the Pacific Ocean. Again, the goal, setting up the stabilization collar and the front porch.
There goes the
so that the crew
collar
can
around
rest
it
comfortably in the front porch, get placed into harnesses so that 2 helicopters can lift them off the front porch and onto the USS John Murtha here. The helicopters are going to take turns.
Yeah, it's bumping around a
picking
bit
up
now.
An astronaut. So again, Helo 1 and Helo 2.
Yeah, because as night falls, the wind starts blowing because of the temperature differential, which increases the currents.
Okay, and the recovery team here on the ship just got a report from the undersea medical officer who is inside the capsule with the crew. He is reporting all 4 members are green. All of our 4 astronauts, Reed, Victor, Christina, Jeremy, green, meaning they are feeling great, not the complexion of their skin. They are feeling great, happy to be home, and ready to be extracted as soon as possible.
They really was like, can we please get out of here now, guys?
And so, as I was saying, we have 2 helicopters circling the activity you're seeing on the water right now. Each will take turns picking up an astronaut. So Helo 1 will come on in, hover above the front porch, about 40 feet above the front porch. A Navy recovery specialist will be hoisted down into the front porch.
The restricted maneuvering doctrine is in effect.
We'll connect to the first astronaut, which we're expecting to be Christina. And then Helo 2 comes around, picks up Jeremy, while Helo 1 stays above head. And then Helo 1 will come back in for another astronaut, and then Helo 2 for the last astronaut, and then back to the flight deck here on the recovery ship.
Makes sense.
I was talking to Assistant Artemis Recovery Director Paul Sierpinski. He said helos are a much quicker, safer way to get on board. They did actually consider boats, but then if you think about it, longer time.
And it's
the crew
gonna
would
just
have to move through more of the ship.
Water around.
This way the helos will give a more direct, quicker route to the medical bay.
Although I guess a helicopter's downdraft would probably cause some choppiness too.
Beautiful shots from our aerial and imagery teams.
It also looks like a sticky hand when split on the balloons.
Clouds have dissipated for a clear view from the bow of the recovery ship here.
Boat one.
You can still see divers in the water there. Encircling Orion, that is that stabilization collar we've been telling you about.
Like fish, little baby sharks.
As you saw in that interview just a few minutes ago, they have to first connect it to Orion, and then once it's secured onto Orion, they can inflate it, and then they'll further secure it with other harnesses and lines. About an hour and 10 minutes since splashdown in the Pacific Ocean here.
Yep.
Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy back home after a history-making mission to the moon and back.
First Canadian near the moon. Furthest distance from the moon or from the Earth that a human has ever gone. First time there have been 4 people around the moon at once. And first time since 1972.
What we said just a couple of minutes ago, the undersea medical officer inside with the crew in Orion, reporting all 4 crew members feeling great.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. And first black man.
Progress being made there on the stabilization collar. It looks like they are beginning to inflate it.
I think.
And it looks like
pretty
they're
sure on that one.
starting to unfold the front porch in order to get that into the water here shortly and inflate that as well.
Because we have done a more of an equality since 1972.
Again, more than 40 people out in the water right now. And those
they're getting
Navy
some
and
nice
NASA
fresh
personnel
ocean
have
earth
been in the
air.
water for now.
Oh no, the light dimension.
About 4 hours.
It's got a little floaty.
The reason why they had to get out so early is just to stage everything. And actually here on the ship, when there are flight operations happening, you can't have anything else, right? Just because the flight deck can be a dangerous place, so they just want to focus on planes coming and going from the ship.
Song was
so
playing
that's why
now.
they wanted
Ocean
to get the boats
Scent.
in the
That's
water
funny.
to make sure that they have all the time they needed for the flight ops. And then the same crew here out in the water, they will stay out in the water for a number of hours after
picking
we recover
up
the crew
stuff
and get them back on the ship, because then they have to recover Orion.
Yup, they gotta get the capsule, they gotta get the parachutes, they gotta get
All right,
the other
that stabilization
parachutes, they
collar
gotta get the
looking
other
good around Orion.
parachutes.
We're now seeing some recovery personnel getting on to that collar. Again, they need to further attach it to Orion.
It's so bright.
To make sure that it can really prop up the spacecraft. It's basically lifting it up off of the water just a tad. Again, so it's not so
water shaky. See, I would be less worried about
so much in the water there.
Flying up in a rocket as I would about walking around the outside of that thing, because while I can swim, I don't like to swim, and I get really uncomfortable if the water, I mean, I like to swim, but if the water is deeper than I am tall,
as well.
Or like,
you can see a much larger
about here,
area.
Like 5.5 feet is the deepest I can go comfortably. I could stretch to 6 feet if I have the goggles that cover your nose. And if the water is clear.
So once the crew get out of
the ocean,
Orion,
no.
They can stretch their legs a little bit on this front porch, get some fresh air. And enjoy this beautiful day here on their home planet. Teams now are about to connect the front porch to the stabilization collar. And at that point, when both are secure, we should soon see astronauts come out of Orion.
Come out, wherever you are. I know where you are, you're in the capsule. If you're not, then we're having a different discussion.
All these views you see also being fed to the Landing Force Operations Center here on the ship.
That's good to know. Don't know why, but it is.
Of course, it is very important for our recovery teams leading the mission to have all the views that you're seeing as well. Again, listening to their communication loop here on the ship. Very quiet, which is a good thing.
Means they're not
panicking. Things are going pretty nominally, meaning as expected.
I said that earlier. I literally said that. Isn't it right, Miles? Oh, he's dreaming. His little cheeks are going twitch, twitch.
Again, all this activity happening just 3,000 yards away from the ship. So that means this will be a very quick flight back on the helicopters for the crew. 2-3 minutes. And then they'll be back here on the ship.
I know.
Okay. Saw a thumbs up.
We like those.
From one of the personnel on the front porch. It looks like they are now getting ready to deploy what they call the Air Rescue Vest, ARV. And so this is the harness.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's the harness with the little clip.
Will get into in order to be hoisted into the helicopters. Again, those helicopters hovering.
Because if your arms aren't great for gravity, the last thing you want to do is climb a wobbly ladder like in an action movie.
To pick up each crew member.
What's the red thing? I want I know what the red thing is. Oh, it's a ramp up to the boat from the front porch. Takes so many people to go into space. I was gonna flop those words. It takes so many space to go into people. No, it does not. Anyway, it takes so many people to work your way into space. With the math and the chemistry and the organization and then the you good bro and medical.
This is Mission Control Houston. Behind me, a fairly raucous scene as hundreds of flight controllers have poured into the flight control room here. This is reminiscent of the scene after the final shuttle mission of STS-135, although that was the end of a program. This is only the beginning of a program with the textbook splashdown of Integrity and its 4 astronauts. We're standing by for the crew to be extracted from the spacecraft. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling invited all of these flight controllers who have contributed to this mission to enter the flight control room to have an opportunity to receive well wishes and to share the mutual glow that exists in the wake of a textbook mission for Integrity. On the front screen here in Mission Control, a sign that says "Welcome home, Integrity," taking humanity back to the moon, going further, and returning safely to Earth. So all of that jubilation, part of the post-splashdown activities.
I like their mission patch.
Even as we await
I like how they have the diamond mission patches instead of the
vehicle
circles.
To be hoisted onto Navy helicopters for the trip back to the USS John P. Murtha.
I think I have an Artemis I mission patch sticker somewhere. Because I always go to the NASA booth at Comic Palooza. I hope they have one this year. They didn't last year because of budget cuts, but I really hope they have one last year. It and the Star Trek booth are my 2 immediate go-to booths. I usually wander around Artist Alley for a bit. And then go to Vendor Alley, usually hunting for specific Funko Pops. And then I head to the NASA and Star Trek fan clubs. And then I head up to the Indie
Once again,
TCG,
here in Mission Control,
TTRPG
this view
things.
of the Artemis Flight Control Room, known as the White Flight Control Room. This is the old shuttle flight control room.
Yep.
And now
I
is
recognize
the home of
those
Artemis missions
walls.
to the moon and beyond. Once again,
Yeah.
quite a
Eating
few flight
on
controllers
the
were invited
non-paying
in
side.
by Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling to share in the jubilation following the successful
Peanuts have been
splashdown of
a
Integrity.
NASA tradition since
Splashdown occurring
at
an
least
hour and
Apollo,
22
maybe
minutes
before.
ago, as we stand by for the completion of the extraction
I
of
don't
the
know how
crew,
it started.
and ultimately they're hoisting onto Navy
Nice.
helicopters.
I don't
for a
know how
short
it started,
flight back
but
to the USS John P. Murtha.
after a big tense moment, like everyone was too
Splashdown
focused to
occurred
eat,
at 7:07 and 27
but then when everybody
seconds
knew
PM
that things were
Central
going
Time.
okay, they opened the Peanuts.
I had an opportunity to talk to the head of Flight Dynamics, Jeff Birch, a moment or two ago. He said
want to
the
say that was Apollo, it
trajectory
might have been
of
Mercury.
Integrity coming
No,
through the
I don't
Earth's
think it was as early
atmosphere
as
was so
Mercury.
precise, they've never seen anything line up on a ground track like today's entry by Integrity for its splashdown southwest of San Diego.
So ever since then, they're like, we're NASA, we're not superstitious, we're just a little stitious. So after that, every mission has had a big old container of peanuts that they do not open until they know it's going well. It's just sitting back, sometimes in almost a little shrine type position.
You can hear it.
Woo! And I don't even like peanuts. I don't hate them. They're just kind of eh.
Jubilation here in the flight control room. The first crew member is out of integrity.
Welcome back to the sky from underneath it, my guy. Instead of on top of it.
We are expecting the other crew members momentarily to be extracted.
Yep, a little wobbly. Makes sense.
We now have 2 crew members out.
I'd be wobbly too if I didn't gravity for 10 days.
Two crew members out, 2 to go.
Whoa, we're halfway there. I'm not going to try to hit that next note. No, I will not do it. My eyes! So bright!
We're about 1 hour from sunset out in the Pacific. Everything continues to go well. Integrity's systems functioned perfectly during its entry back to Earth. And Reed Wiseman, the commander who will be last out of the vehicle, reported that all the crew members were feeling very well.
Probably super stoked and psyched because of what they just did.
Crew member number 3 now out. And now standing by for the commander, Reed Wiseman, who will be last out of his ship. Bobbing in the Pacific under almost ideal conditions, Integrity spanned 694,000 miles during its journey from launch to splashdown.
And in case you don't know, that is a very long way. You can fit all of the planets if you butt them up against each other between Earth and the Moon. You shouldn't, but you could. Well, all of the solar system planets. I have to specify because now we know about quite a few exoplanets.
And we now have Reed Wiseman out of the vehicle. All 4 crew members now out of Integrity.
Woohoo! Now is something, as long as something stupid doesn't happen, we're good. Oh, it's hard to see when it's orange on orange. Clap, 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 clap.
Once
clap.
again, all 4 crew members now on the front porch. And the procedure to begin hoisting them up to these
music,
2
music,
Navy
music.
helicopters
That wasn't
hovering
music, that was
overhead
applause.
will begin shortly.
And I'll be super right back. Really quick. Prepare for the demon VTube.
This is Mission Control Houston. The mission is over, but the melody lingers on as jubilation continues here in the flight control room. We should be expecting NASA's Associate Administrator, Amit Kshatriya, to be joining us shortly for a short interview while the recovery operations continue out in the Pacific. So we'll stand by for that. And then we'll turn it back over to Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha.
My phone is like, hey, baseball is happening. And I'm like, shh, we're losing. I know it's the first, but we're losing. Shh, shh. Just everybody standing around on super floaties. Astros. It's basic to support the team nearest you, but anyone who plays a good game, I should say. Because I watched the Astros, I think it was the Nationals in the World Series. I watched that, and half the time I was like, okay, that stung, but well played. I'm very much a good sport. Like I saw a score the other day, it was like 10-11 in the 10th inning. When it finished, and I was like, that had to have been a good game to watch. We lost, but it had to have been a good game.
A number of flight controllers basking in the glory of the successful end of this mission that carried 4 astronauts around the moon on a lunar flyby
of the sun.
The first test flight of Orion with crew members on board. Splashdown occurring an hour and 32 minutes ago after a flawless descent back into the Earth's atmosphere for the vehicle.
Bob around for an hour and a half.
It's 4 crew members in good shape, simply enjoying their time right now on the front porch, as it were, the inflatable raft alongside of their Integrity spacecraft. We're expecting Amit Kshatriya, the NASA Associate Administrator, to join us here momentarily for a brief interview before we turn it back over to Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha, the recovery ship.
I'm pleased with how well my model came out. I got the side emergency pouches. I actually don't know what's in those. And the leg, don't know what's in that either, but it's a cylinder. I just skipped the hose tube because animating that would have been a pain in the butt. Actually, not really, but I want to say 3 hours? Because I already had the basics with the glasses and the hair and the body. And after that, it was just matching where the straps went to a reference picture. And then modeling the little hose tubies and getting the colors right. And then making my rank and putting the meatball on. And then my mission patch. No, other side. Mission patch, which you can't see very well. It's a Twitch logo. And then my flag. And then I was like, yay, I finished. And then I realized I forgot the buckles. Commercials? There shouldn't be commercials.
This is Mission Control Houston.
Maybe I have
We're
them
about
set
an
up
hour
weird.
and 34 minutes since the textbook splashdown of integrity in the Pacific to bring home our astronauts. And with us now is Amit Kshatriya, the NASA Associate Administrator. Amit, a little bit of history made tonight, a little bit of history made over the past few weeks. Your thoughts as this team here basks
putting commercials
in the glow of
mid-roll?
what they just accomplished.
I didn't want that.
Rob, we're here in the control center, and it's kind of overrun with jubilant.
I said it took me about 3 hours because I already had the hair and the body and the glasses done.
Our crew get extracted from the vehicle, and
but then I went and researched the Orion spacesuit
teams, the team that's in the water right now,
to get the lines and the colors right. And I didn't do the tubes because it would have been a pain in the butt to animate.
To get this done.
I know how. I just didn't
we still have some work to do to get the crew to the med bay here on the ship. They all look great coming
out. I went,
out,
yay, it's done. And then I went,
I
forgot the buckles.
I think we saw the administrator on the boat too, giving his thanks to the Navy team on the Mirtha, which they're just an incredible group of sailors. I was able to visit with them a couple weeks ago. And then if you pull it all the way back to the workers and the folks that joined the rocket at Michoud, that made the heat shield tiles that held together tonight, that that stacked the vehicle in Florida, that integrated the vehicle in Denver, that fired the engines in Stennis, that fired the boosters in Promontory. I mean, this is the entire team
I had to balance
together and being
the
tested by the
simplistic
environment
V-tube style
that
with
this
an
machine went
accuracy.
through, and they did it right. The work was good. They did it right.
I could have gone super complicated with it for another 3 hours,
of course,
but then it would have looked incongruously complicated.
The cadence has to step up, as the administrator has indicated. Now, it's a little early for the full report card on how Integrity did, but did this mission ultimately, from your eyes view, exceed expectations?
It absolutely did. I mean, I was waiting to talk about this until we're in the water, and I think we still have, again, work to do to bring it in and really kind of go through it bolt by bolt and see what we learned. But I mean, so far, given what we learned during the mission and given how we performed on ascent, on entry, I always think about energy in terms of the states that you worry about the most, and every time we put these machines through these incredibly energetic states that came through. So I'm fairly confident that we made a big step tonight to get us on the path towards the surface. I think the path to the surface is open now. We do have to do all the work, and we'll make sure we talk about that as clean as we can. We learned a few things during the mission, but
not just go, I'm not touching
this was an incredible test of an incredible machine.
From an American psyche standpoint, the Empire State Building was lit up red, white, and blue tonight. Our coverage was seen on baseball stadiums around the major leagues. How captivating was this experience for the American people, for the world, in fact, as we returned to the moon?
I've not been able to watch a lot of the coverage as
I'm cool with it being a
for
the world thing,
buddy. From my witness in Florida before launch, and then seeing the people's faces here, and then reading where I can about how things are going. I think this has been a gift to the world from NASA. NASA has given the world a gift, proving to folks all over the place, especially young people, and that to me is what this is really about.
I wanted to do
young
just
people,
banner ads.
When they see what we can do when we work together, when we have teams that collaborate, that it doesn't matter how hard.
I can't turn off
I'm hopeful that
pre-roll when you click in all together.
Folks witness what we were able to do with this incredible crew.
But if I manually trigger an ad,
into the world,
it
scientists and engineers and artists
them for a given amount of time.
And even if they don't come work in the program, which separately they should come work in the program because Lord knows we need the help. But even if they don't want to come work in the program, hopefully they grow up to recognize they can do amazing things when they work together and contribute to society and be good citizens and really change the way, the challenges that are coming in the world are overcomable if we work together like this.
And one final question. Flying to the moon, we did it. We've done it again this past week and a half or so. But the engineering that went behind the design of this mission and the precision, the pinpoint precision of this vehicle entering that entry corridor, it's almost mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is incredible when you think about the energies involved and the uncertainties involved. That when we inserted the vehicle into orbit, it was 99.2% down the middle. When we dropped the vehicle right on top of the fleet here, our guys knew exactly where to go, but the guidance was perfect. You know, it's interesting. I've got this question a lot over the last few weeks about, you know, we did this before 53 years ago, and you know that. I think, I mean, it is a reasonable thing to contemplate, like what's gone on since then. And what I'd tell you is,
here, guys, enjoy some
you know,
wind.
when we did Apollo, which again, the more we learn about what they did, the more magical it seems what they were able to accomplish given the technology and the learnings that they had. But when we did Apollo, the architects of Apollo, you know, Gilbert, Seaman, von Braun, Mueller, what they really wanted to do, you know, as they were contemplating what it meant to expand our range of action to the lunar surface, what they wanted to do was learn how to live and work in space for a long time. They wanted to do that first before they were confident they could expand their range of action to the moon. Now, of course, the politics of the time and the mission at the time was different, and so they had to go straight to the moon and bring people home. And then after that, the program kind of lost its momentum. But you know, after that, NASA kept moving along those paths, right? So we recognized during Apollo that reusability was going to be important. We spent a lot of money on those machines, and you know, we spent a lot of money on these machines here. Even though, but we recognized that reusability was important, which is why we built a winged space plane called Space Shuttle, and then we used that reusable machine to build a space station. And we learned for 25 years how to live and work in space, and have been able to develop technologies that can enable exploration. So really, what I think is now, 53 years later, we're at the point where the architects of Apollo would have been pleased that we're now ready to actually go back to the moon and go back to stay, because we've learned all the things we needed to learn.
There's a lot of people pleased here tonight, and we really thank you for joining us. Amit Kshatriya, NASA's Associate Administrator, as we begin to hoist the crew onto the helicopters to head back to the recovery ship. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
congratulations, Amit.
Whee!
This is Mission Control Houston, with the crew members now beginning to be hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters. Let's go to Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha, who will take it from here.
Yoop. Come on, take it. Take it. Take it from
Rob,
here.
Yeah, back on the bow of the ship here, we are seeing the helicopters circling Orion. The first one there, having just completed picking up the first astronaut. Helo 2 now, hovering just 40 feet above the front porch, lowering a recovery specialist out of the helicopter. That person will touch down in the front porch just there. The crew members already outfitted with a harness that will allow them to quickly attach to the hoisting device. Look at the power of those blades throwing water out at the center there. The front porch with now 3 astronauts and the recovery specialists. Again, crews already outfitted with a harness vest. And here we go. Second astronaut now off the front porch, getting hoisted into the second helicopter.
A piece.
That helicopter will now hover just a distance away to give room for the first helicopter to come back.
The helicopter
and pick up the third astronaut.
They go. Hello.
As we wait for that helicopter to come back, make its way back around, just want to mention that the President of the United States called our NASA administrator today while he was on the ship, just minutes after we interviewed him live on our coverage, and congratulated him and NASA on this history-making moment tonight. Helicopter 1 again hovering 40 feet over the front porch. We will soon see another recovery specialist getting lowered onto the front porch.
For special recovery hugs.
Wow, imagine sitting on that front porch, the wind, the water. But again, the recovery
gotta
team
be a smell
determined
happening.
that a helicopter flight back to the ship here would be safer, faster, and more comfortable for our crew who just completed a 10-day mission around the moon. Third astronaut in the air, getting hoisted quickly back into the first helicopter now. That first helicopter now on its way back to the ship here. We will soon see it land in just a few minutes. Again, all this action happening just 3,000 yards away from us, so a very quick flight back to the flight deck. Now the only person left on the front porch, Commander Reed Wiseman. That second helicopter now making its way back over to the front porch. Here it comes. Making its final approach here.
Lashed off the raft boat. Lashed off the skyboat. Up you go.
The last astronaut, Commander Reed Wiseman, now off the front porch and almost into the second helicopter. Both now on their way back to the ship where we are, the USS John P. Murtha, just west of San Diego in the Pacific Ocean.
Ah, I was right. It was about 50 miles off San Diego.
Exciting to see our 4 crew members minutes away from landing on the flight deck here on the recovery ship. 550 people on this ship, excited, ready, anxious, looking forward to welcoming this crew aboard.
Yeah!
Watching them now with our own eyes. Close to the ship here. Hearing them begin to hover.
That's a helicopter, all right.
On the flight deck, which is just across from us, here on the bow. The first helicopter coming in. And wheels down. Wheels down of the first helicopter carrying 2 of our Artemis II crew. Pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook. Kilo 1 on deck reported on the recovery loop. Again, the mission audio loops that the recovery team are using here to communicate with one another. And an announcement just made on the ship, integrity incoming.
Yay!
2 more helicopters on their way to the flight deck, one carrying the crew, the other, one of our imagery helicopters. Again, kudos to our imagery and aerial teams for giving us these beautiful views
Oh, you can see the sunset start to kick in.
Set amid a gorgeous, soon-to-be sunset here in the Pacific Ocean.
I didn't know she was going to say that, but it's true.
Second helicopter. Making its approach of the flight deck. Plenty of people here on the bow with their cell phones out, filming this moment. Some impressive flying here by the Navy.
I mean, it's the Navy. They have the second biggest Air Force in the world.
From wheels down. And there you go. We now have all 4 Artemis II crew members on the USS John P. Murtha.
Woo! They on the ship.
I'm sure they're happy to be out of the water and on this recovery ship with, again, 550 people on board, ready to welcome them home.
Run, little guys, run!
But first, as we've been saying throughout the broadcast, just making sure the crew feel good. We reported that they were feeling good when they were in Orion, but those were just initial, quick, verbal assessments of how they're feeling. Their destination tonight, the medical bay here on the ship, right after we power down the helicopters here. The team on the flight deck working quickly but methodically. Waiting for just one more helicopter to touch down. Very limited personnel here on the flight deck.
Restricted maneuvering doctrine is in effect.
As that third helicopter touches down.
The ship is at flight quarters. Stand clear of waiter decks, ACO frame 095, for no cover stop signs, thrown articles over the side, hold all trash and garbage on station. Flight quarters.
While just a few folks on the flight deck itself, there are plenty more on some upper decks. I see in some of our views a very packed crowd overhead. Announcements being made over the ship's loudspeaker system, reminding folks to stay clear of operational areas like the flight deck.
Yeah, you don't want to get choppered.
So that teams can work quickly to get the crew off of the helicopters and into the medical bay.
Probably gonna end soon.
Splashdown.
There's
today,
not gonna be much to see
5:06
after this.
Pacific time.
But once they get off the helicopters,
we are within 2 hours of that splashdown time, and already we have all 4 crew members on the flight.
I'm still amused that that helicopter is number 42. That one. Thanks for letting me know it was still getting mid-roll ads. That's not what I want. I'm gonna have to work something there.
Getting out for the helicopters.
I may have to trigger manually more often. I don't want to have to do that.
Safety, of course, very important to NASA and the U.S. military.
But it's good for technical difficulty times.
So we'll wait just a couple of minutes here before we start seeing crew members walk off the helicopters one by one.
The answer to life, the universe, and everything. From the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What the question is, nobody knows. But the answer is 42. Apparently there's no guarantee that the Twitch ad will be automatically done. But there's no guarantee it won't. Which is annoying. But still. Yep, those are some guys on the flight deck, alright. This is the worst possible angle for seasickness. I get seasick if I'm facing, if my back is towards the direction of travel. I think it's fine on camera, but in person, does not matter how slow we're going.
All right, and now here we see pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook sitting on the edge of one of the helicopters, looking in great spirits. That familiar smile and laugh from Victor, I can see it from here. Christina, I'm sure, feeling the same way, just blocked a little bit by our camera here, but we'll see her here shortly.
She's not blocked by the camera, she's blocked by the dude.
A photographer taking their pictures. Victor saluting folks on the flight deck. They look like they're in great spirits. Happy to be home, I'm sure.
He seems like a fun gentleman. A fun feller.
If you're sitting at home, I hope you too are wondering, what would you want to ask them if you got a chance to talk to them? Because that is what I'm thinking about.
I would like to ask what food they're craving.
Getting the opportunity to talk to or ask questions of these 4 astronauts who just made history.
Probably,
the first crew
yeah.
to return to the moon.
I mean, they're gonna go to the medical bay. I mean, they're not really that far off the coast, but they're probably gonna go to the medical bay, get a full checkout, probably crash nap. I would. Do a debrief.
Oh, there we see Christina there, also smiling, finally peering out, waving.
Probably
at
the
cameras.
Debrief before the nap.
Hello to you too, Christina, yes. Welcome back. Welcome, welcome home. A loudspeaker announcement on the ship saying, "Welcome home, Integrity."
I still like that they named their ship the Integrity.
Victor in great spirits. I can't see who he's talking to, but I kind of think that he might be talking to his other 2 crew members. Shouting from across the flight deck, congratulations to one another.
It's a good name.
We see some Navy personnel walking up to the helicopter. This is again the first helicopter carrying
spaceship names should be aspirational.
And mission specialist Christina Cook.
And hopeful and positive.
Both have taken off their helmets now. Some pictures, video, to catalog this historic moment. A beautiful sunset just behind them here in the Pacific Ocean.
Oh golden yeah, hour. Get them golden hour shots.
Now we see NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. He is on the flight deck, as well as Flight Surgeon Rick Schuring walking over to Victor and Christina first. We saw the administrator walk over to the other helicopter, which is carrying Commander Reed Weissman and Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen.
Make sure everybody doing okay.
We heard from Rick earlier in the broadcast. Again, he said he's going to be out there on the flight deck to do another initial assessment of the crew, ask them how they're feeling, anything bothering them. But again, from what I'm seeing, they look like they're in great spirits and feeling pretty good for folks who just traveled 695,000 miles from Florida to the moon and now here to the Pacific Ocean.
A very long way. That's longer. Okay, I don't want to say that because it may not be true. But if my guess is right, and I have no math to back this up, that's more than most people travel in their lives combined. I think.
We're now seeing NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman walking across the flight deck. He had been talking to Reed and Jeremy, now approaching Victor and Christina. A hug from Victor, a hug from Christina. What a moment that we're getting to experience together.
And a backlit golden hour.
I'm sure congratulatory words. You know, we got to speak to the administrator live on this broadcast as well, and he said the kid in him right now, giddy, absolutely giddy.
And I do not blame him one bit.
At what we were able to accomplish today. Returning them home safely and in good spirits after a 10-day mission around the moon. And here we go. We're seeing Jeremy walking, waving across the flight deck, now on his way to the medical bay. It's a short walk,
Makes
less
sense.
than a minute. Again, that's why the recovery team decided to use helicopters to get them on the flight deck.
Makes sense to have the medical bay near the flight deck.
Short walk to medical bay. And now on the flight deck, we see the chief of the astronaut office, Scott Tingle.
Julian!
Rick Schuring switching places. He's going over to the other helicopter. Big hugs, big hugs.
What you doing,
Victor,
Julian?
Christina to Scott. Again, a gorgeous sunset, setting the stage for this recovery tonight.
Hi.
All right. And now here we are, Christina. Making her way, looking thankful, grateful, happy to be home.
With a wheelchair just behind, just in case legs decide not to work.
You can see she's looking up. Again, lots of people, just a few levels up off the flight deck, welcoming her home.
Onboard
Scott
camera
holding
operators.
The door like a gentleman, but back on his way to the other crew still on the flight deck.
Hi, little baby. What you want? He says, I want attention. And he fell on my foot.
So still on the flight deck, Victor Glover and Reed Weissman. It looks like Victor will be the next one headed to medical bay. More hugs, more hugs. He's a hugger. Victor looking good as he walks across the flight deck. NASA Administrator applauding. Victor applauding for all the folks on the ship with him who played a role in their safe return today.
Snapping those photos, getting them glamour shots. slam a glam of shots.
And finally, just one Artemis II crew member left on the flight deck, Commander Reed Weissman.
Those shoes look comfy. I guess they need to be if you're going to be spending 10 days in them nonstop.
Applause from the group there on the flight deck.
I don't know if they take their shoes off. I don't think they do.
On the level just above them, packed with people.
Apart from changing into and out of the takeoff and landing suit.
As he takes his steps towards the medical bay.
Wow, what a view. Okay.
We are 4 Artemis II crew members back on the ship. Again, now they will head into medical bay, where they will be assessed by flight surgeons from both NASA as well as the Canadian Space Agency. A more in-depth assessment.
Make sure they don't have any clots from the funky circulation. Make sure they don't have any other weirdness.
They will be helped out of their suits. And then again, we'll check to see that they're feeling good. Make sure it's not just adrenaline, but that they are feeling good from their long journey back from the moon. Beautiful shot of that sunset, illuminating our flight deck.
And there's really not much for us to see anymore. So.
All right, and now with our astronauts safely on board, I want to welcome on Artemis Recovery Director Lily Villarreal. Lily, I don't know how you must be feeling right now. Ecstatic, relieved?
I'm so ecstatic, relieved. Of course, we still have to bring the capsule into the well deck of the ship, but this is a major milestone to have the crew here on the ship and in medbay. You know, our team has been preparing and working really hard, and I'm just so proud of them all. Everything went very well, just as planned. Our teammates in Houston, the flight control team was just amazing. We were able to have great conversations and communications about everything. And I don't know what else to say. I'm just so ecstatic. It's such a wonderful feeling to get to this point. Again, we still have to get the capsule, but this is huge for all of us in landing recovery. And I couldn't do this without my team, and of course the full support of the U.S. military. There's going to be lots of, high fives when we get the capsule back in, and I'm so happy that the crew's doing well. Ryan's doing well, and thank you for everybody watching.
Yeah, it was great to watch the crew come back to the ship with you. How were you feeling when you were seeing them looking so happy to be home and feeling really good?
The funny thing is that we had video of them from inside the Orion vehicle. They were like that from the beginning. When we opened the hatch, they were already out of their seats, having a good time, waiting for us to open the hatch. And they opened the hatch, and of course we did the first medical assessment. Everybody was doing very well, and they were just having such a great time with the medical team that was inside the capsule.
And that's a very
important.
They were
all taking selfies with
part
of the phones that they have.
Life, really, is you just gotta
about what they saw,
have fun doing what you're doing. And if you're doing science or earning money,
we put them on the front porch when we were
then
ready to put them
that's
on the front porch. And
the
again,
bonus.
You could see
you
they
gotta
were
have
just so
fun.
ecstatic to be home and talking to everybody. So we were very happy to see all of that in the control room
have
of
fun.
the LFOC.
Not necessarily in that order.
Again, if we think about their journey, the
two most important things in life, in my
journey around the moon and back, coming back at
and don't hurt other
30
people.
times faster than the speed of sound. I mean, how remarkable is that they are in such good spirits?
I mean, this is an amazing crew. I think you guys have seen it for the past 10 days. They're wonderful people, and we're so happy that they brought us along on that ride. And I can't wait to see all the additional videos and pictures that they have that, we'll get a hold of now that they're back on the ground.
Pictures.
And I can't wait to hear how, a little more than what we saw on the press briefings from the crew about what they saw. It's just fantastic. Some of my favorite people during this 10 days was the science team and how excited they were. And so this is exactly how we feel in the landing recovery team when the science team went, oh my goodness, when they heard all the discussions about the moon. This is exactly how we feel now in the landing recovery team. We're so ecstatic. Yeah. Again, we have to recover the capsule. I want to make sure we don't forget about Orion.
Lily's all about business. She's thinking about what's next. But yeah, speaking of these 10 days, I mean, we have been along for the journey with them, live with them 24/7 for 10 days, and just really seeing the engagement that we've gotten from around the world. What do you hope
I'd have covered the circle around the moon
if I fantastic. So, my story was that I went to the Kennedy Space Center. I was born in Colombia.
ADHD
I was 10 years old when we moved to the United States, but when I was 7, my family took me to the visitor center, and that's when I learned about Apollo. And we went to the moon, and I learned about astronauts, and that story was what really fueled me to want to do STEM and want to be an astronaut. And I think that this Artemis program is going to do exactly what what girls
twice diagnosed.
My age back then is 7. Young people right now, girls and even like young men, obviously. But we want to empower people.
It do go bird, don't it?
You can do this, right? If you want to come and work for NASA, if I did it, they can do it. And Artemis program is just going to inspire everybody, and I'm so happy about that. Yeah. Like Apollo inspired me.
Thank you so much, Lily. Really appreciate you being here. As you said, still a lot of work to do. 5 to 6 more hours to recover Orion that's still out in the water. So I'll let you get back to it. But you had beautiful words to say again. We hope that this inspires people. We hope that you come and join us at NASA and accomplish great things with us in the future.
Yeah.
Back to you, Rob.
Join NASA.
Thank you, Megan, and safe sailing out there in the Pacific. Here in Mission Control, it is now all quiet. The team of flight controllers and all their support personnel have left the room to enjoy the aftermath of a textbook touchdown by Integrity at Splashdown in the Pacific, right on target to complete this historic flyby of the moon, the Artemis II mission. With that, we'll wrap up our coverage for the night and point you to a post-Splashdown news conference in 15 minutes at 9:35 p.m. Central Time, 10:35 p.m. Eastern Time, where managers will discuss the return of the Integrity spacecraft and the completion of the Artemis II mission. With that, we'll wrap up our coverage for this evening and historic mission in the history books. This is Mission Control Houston.
And that'll do me for this evening as well. I'm excited that the science happened and it all went well. That's a very important thing. And you all have a good evening.